Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
We are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. You hear it. Broner, baby, did a job last night, got robbed. I'm saying he got robbed. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, in England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. You want to call and ask questions? Call right now at 323-870-3857. Knock on wood, or on my ping pong table here. I think it's working. Blog Talk, that is. Robbie and I are always working. Beeb's sometime work, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Today, we're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez suspended for 6 months. We'll give you all the details. And Triple G finds an opponent for May 5th. But it's a less than stellar matchup, to say the least. But first, we get started with Showtime Championship Boxing, Adrien Broner versus Jessie Vargas. Adrien Broner and Jessie Vargas fought to a majority decision draw last night in Brooklyn. Vargas took control early, and it looked like he had Broner in trouble in the second or third round. He was throwing more punches, really going to the body. I actually thought that he might have a chance to finish Broner late. As much body work as he was doing and tagging him, I mean, I thought he might have a shot to get him out of there. But, you know, inexplicably, it was Vargas who faded down the stretch. Broner seemed to catch a second wind in the second half of the fight and really took control. Final scores were 115-113 for Broner and 114-114 twice. I had Broner winning the fight 115-113. I don't think there's any question about it. I think Broner won this fight. I think he won it handily. All his antics aside, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but his antics aside at the press conference, I thought Broner won this fight. I really did. I thought he did a great job. I thought he did he looked a lot like the same Broner, where I don't know that the coach really made a difference. He was trying to jockey him in the corner and rile him up and say, hey, throw more punches. I really don't think he made a difference because he really looked like a different Broner, but hey, is what it is, and I thought it was enough, man. If he would have started earlier, then, hey, who knows? I think he wins that fight really handily. Beeb, what are your thoughts on the fight itself?
I thought it was a very entertaining fight. As far as this being a new and improved Broner, I don't think it was. He didn't throw a lot of punches. He still got off to a slow start. Still had to dig himself out of a hole, but I will give him credit because when you're behind like that, it's not the easiest thing in the world to come back as strong as he did. One thing we do know for sure, he was in phenomenal shape because he was taking those body shots very well and didn't seem to be too affected by them. I thought Vargas came out, really strong with the jab, boxed well from the outside, and did some good work on the inside too. But the thing that surprised me a little bit was I thought that his body shots would have more of an effect on Broner. I thought some of these right hands that he was landing was going to have more of an effect on Broner. Jessie Vargas is not known as a big puncher, but he hurt Bradley. He knocked out Saddam Ali, and he landed cleanly last night. So I thought, over the course of the fight, he'd have a cumulative effect on Broner and possibly hurt him and slow him down because of the amount of punches he was landing. But he did kind of slow down a little bit in the second half. He was fighting at a faster pace, more so than normal for him. I mean, he's not a overly economical fighter, but this guy was like throwing 100 punches in some of these rounds. And he's not that busy. He's usually in the 50s to 60s, possibly 70s, but he's never throwing 100 punches around. But Broner did do some good things in the second half of the fight. He was starting to time Vargas a little bit with the jab. So when Vargas was stepping forward, even before he could get the jab off, he was throwing lead right hands. And I think he took the jab away from Vargas in the second half of the fight, number one. And number two, I thought Broner, did pick up the pace a little bit, was really sharp with some of these punches. He was coming up underneath on the inside. Instead of trying to throw headshots to Vargas, like early in the fight, he wasn't really landing or wasn't really throwing a lot, but he wasn't really throwing the right punches. But he started going up and underneath on the inside, and he was landing a lot of those half uppercut, half hook type shots, and he started getting Vargas's attention. So I think a combination of things happened that hurt Vargas later in this fight. He was starting to get tired because of the fast pace that he fought, number one. And number two, I think that Broner was landing some good shots, particularly with the left hand. And the right hand was getting his attention, but the right hand was really setting up some of those left hooks for Broner, some of those uppercuts for Broner. And I think that Broner did come on strong the second half, so give him credit for that. But he still got himself in a hole, and he was in there with the guy that really wasn't doing a ton of damage to him. So if he gets in there with another guy who can hit harder than Vargas, which there are a lot of guys that can hit harder than Vargas, then if he's getting hit that much early on, then it's going to be a problem for him, because Mikey Garcia is a pretty heavy-handed guy. He's not a one-punch knockout guy, but he's a sharp puncher, and he seemed to get Broner's attention, and Broner wasn't able to weather the storm in that fight and come on strong in the second half of that fight. So Vargas, I think, fought an excellent fight. I still think he did enough to win. I had it 115-113 for Vargas, but Broner made this fight close by just not really doing a lot in the first half of the fight. And if he won at least two of those first 6 rounds in this fight, then he would have probably had a draw on my card. But he probably would have won. Would have won on the other two. All he had to do was win one of those rounds. So I think that Cunningham did well with him. He wasn't just there to be a cheerleader. He wasn't there to say, "Oh, it's going to be okay," blah blah blah. He got in his ass. He said, "Come on, come on, come on, come on. You got to punch. You got to punch. This guy's not even hurting you. He's getting tired. You got to throw punches, man." And I think that did help. I think he must have had a great camp with Cunningham, because he did look in phenomenal shape. It seemed as though he's in phenomenal shape. But this is the same old AB. It was the same old AB, and he was in there with the guy that really couldn't hurt him, and he was in there with a guy that faded late. And I don't want to take anything away from Adrien Broner, because I think he did very well in the second half of the fight. And like I said, that you got to give the guy a lot of credit, because he's a tough, gritty guy when he has to be. And he was a tough, gritty guy against Maidana, even though he lost that fight. He came back a little bit in that fight and hurt Maidana, I think in the 12th round or 11th round, one of those later rounds. But at the end of the day, you put yourself in a situation, fight after fight, where you're digging yourself out of a hole, and it's not the best situation to be in, especially with a guy that's in. If you go up against a bigger guy, a stronger guy that's in phenomenal shape that can hurt you, you're gonna have problems. But all in all, I thought this was an excellent fight. Hats off go to Broner and Jessie Vargas. But again, I don't think there was a ton of difference. There was a little bit of difference in the attitude and the work ethic, but other than that, the style was still the same. So I'll at least give Broner credit for bringing a real workman-like effort to this fight in terms of determination and gritting it out and being a grinder in the second half of the fight. So props to him for that.
Beeb, let me ask you real quick before we go to Robert. He got a new trainer, and he did look in great shape, but he's always in good shape. He did come in, maybe a little bit heavy. I don't know. He had to undress completely at the weigh-in. But overall, he was in good shape. I mean, he lasted, he went the round. He turned it up at the end, especially after getting attacked to the body in the first 6 rounds. Is this new trainer working for him? I mean, is there a difference? Do you notice a big difference? Or is this he's just too late in his career to make to make any differences with him?
Well, he needs a disciplinarian. And Cunningham is definitely a disciplinarian.
For sure.
With all due respect to Stafford, it's like when you go to school and the teacher's absent. She's out sick and you got the sub there. That's when you stop throwing the erasers at the chalkboard. That's when you start snickering and laughing behind the teacher's back and making a joke of it. But then when the real teacher comes back, you snap to it and you do what you're supposed to do. I think Mike Stafford is like that parent that is the one that always says, go ask your father, because they're the ones that don't want to say no. So go ask your father. Mike Stafford's that mom that says, go ask your father. And Cunningham is that father that says no. And I think he needs that. I mean, in terms of just telling him and not being afraid to yell at him, and not being afraid to criticize him, and not being afraid to really, really try to egg him on to do well. Because Stafford was like a mouse in that corner. Let's be honest. He kept just saying it's going to be okay. He would pat him.
Yeah.
He would do whatever he needed to do to kind of pacify Adrien Broner. Like, especially in that Maidana fight, like there was no sense of urgency. He was like really, really behind, and there was no sense of urgency in that fight. Whereas Cunningham said, "Man, you got to let your hands go." And what I like what Cunningham did too, it wasn't just like you got to let your hands go. He was giving him good instructions. He's like, "Yeah, man, when you're in there, go up and underneath. When you're in there up close, you touch him to the body, and then you come back up to the head." He was getting on him, but it wasn't just like, come on, man, come on, yeah. He was giving him instructions in a aggressive way, and he was telling him, look, man, he's hitting you with everything, but he can't hurt you. He's getting tired. That gives you confidence, so he was kind of pumping Broner up. Broner needs that. He needs to have that fire under his ass. You know what I'm saying? It's like another example, because I like to use these examples, these real life examples. When you when you're at work and you got a boss that like is never around, and you can do whatever you want. You're gonna do whatever you want. But when you got a boss that's there every day watching you, what do? You're on your P's and Q's. He needs someone that's gonna make him be on his P's and Q's, and that's half the battle. The guy can fight. He's never gonna be a whirlwind. He's never gonna be a volume puncher. He's never going to be a guy that is going to, move a lot. He's not going to be, use his feet a lot. He's going to be a guy that likes to, edge forward, kind of creep up, creep back, little half step backward, half step forward. He's never going to be that. He's not going to be an Amir Khan. Okay, he's going to be who he is. He's not going to be a Floyd Mayweather. So I think half the battle is motivating him. He openly said he needs to be motivated. He needs to be yelled at. He needs to be in camp. And when he says, I want to only do 3 rounds today, no, man, you're doing 10. He needs that. And I think at the very least, at least Cunningham gives him that. Because I'm always the type of guy where, you bring in these trainers, you switch things up a little bit. Like Khan's had a ton of trainers. Even Jessie Vargas had a ton of trainers. And at the end of the day, I don't think you can't teach a dog to climb trees, but you can slap that dog in the ass with a newspaper and make him move when you want him to move. You see what I'm saying? So that's 2 different things. And I don't think Cunningham's going to change this guy style-wise, but he's going to make him work. He's going to make him grit down on his teeth, and he's going to get in his ass when he needs to get in his ass. So
I did notice that he did drop the Philly shell. He did drop that, and he fought conventional, which was kind of awkward to see, especially after all this time. Yeah. Robert, what were your thoughts on the fight itself?
Well, I thought Jessie Vargas won the first half of the fight, and I thought Adrien Broner won the second half of the fight.
And you had Broner winning the fight.
The problem is, so I had it a draw.
Oh.
So the problem is with Broner, is it too late for a new trainer to make a difference? And another decision has to be made, and they've got to stick to it. What weight class are you going to fight in, and who are you going to go fight? You can't go back and forth, between 140 and 147, and then when you can't make 147, we got to have a catch weight. You've got to make a clear decision in your career. A, am I going to continue? B, if I am going to continue, where am I going to fight? I don't know if Kevin Cunningham is going to make a real difference, because the problem you have with a guy like Adrien Broner is you don't know what weight class he's going to fight in, so you don't know who to prepare him for. I think Cunningham did a good job. I think he's a good trainer, but I've got more questions about Broner's career as far as what weight class is he going to fight in. So can Kevin Cunningham make a real difference? Is he going to be given the opportunity to make a real difference? How much of a career does Broner really have left?
Where is Kevin Cunningham based out of?
Cincinnati, I thought.
No, he was Cincinnati. I thought
he was from Cincinnati too.
No, he's in Philadelphia.
Oh, I apologize. No, St. Louis.
Trainer.
St. Louis, because he's from where Devin Alexander is. St. Louis.
Oh, it's St. Louis. St.
Oh,
Louis.
that's
Okay.
right. That's right. St. Louis. Yeah. Okay.
And on a side
also,
and on a side note, Eric, he's been in that. He's known Adrien Broner for a long time, and he's always been in that camp in some type of capacity for since Broner's amateur days, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So there's a familiarity there, so that's good.
Gotcha. All right, Beeb, time.
Brianna, you want to do the train wreck? You ready? I don't know what she is. I may have to do it. I don't want to do it, but I may have to.
Oh no! Come on!
I want you to do it,
Linda.
You gotta get her on tape.
Is Brianna there? Yeah. Can you do the train wreck? Yeah, doing it early today. You ready? Give me a little prima donna. Ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Chugga, 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 choo choo.
All right, very
good job.
There you go.
Good.
All right.
And thank you for saving us from the Beeb, from him having to do the train wreck of the week, which sounds like two cats just clawing each other's eyes out.
And this is a title. This is a title this fighter will never lose.
The Adrien Broner train wreck of the week, as we call it. And of course, he made the train wreck again this week. Broner's post-fight interview, his pre-fight interview. Anytime Broner picked up the mic or was in front of the camera, it was an absolute train wreck. He claimed that he beat Jessie Vargas like Martin Luther King was beat. I believe he meant to say Rodney King. He then went on to spew more nonsense that we won't even get into. He also acted like a complete buffoon at the press conference. Did you guys see this guy at the press conference?
Yeah, it was horrible.
It was terrible.
I tried to forget about it, but
it was awful, man. I mean,
it was pathetic.
It's one thing to just talk trash and everything like that, but dude, come on. I mean, you're like, it was horrible. I mean, everybody tunes in to see this guy get beat. I mean, that's where it is. But I mean, he's got the charisma. He really does. I mean, he brings people out. What was the attendance last night, Beeb?
I thought it was like 14.
Yeah.
12. No, I think it was 12.
Yeah, Jason's going to remind us that it was 14,000. We're going to hear that.
I think it was 13 or something like that. And again, the place does hold 18, but they do scale it back. They do scale it back.
Yeah. They do that everywhere, though.
Yeah.
They do that everywhere. I remember being in Chicago. They did it over at the Cintas Center. They did that too.
Yeah, and they do it in Vegas all the time, and even
where they'll just the upper bowl will be just blocked off.
Yeah, and even if I remember correctly, Hagler Leonard way back when, that fight only had 16,000 people at it at Caesars, and Caesars can hold like 18 too when it's opened up. So, I mean, what they do is they just take some of the seats out and they charge more for the seats, and they try to get the money that way. Yeah, but
right.
But I mean, he does do well there. But I think no one does what like Danny Garcia. I think is the man at Barclays. Like he he has a big following at the Barclays. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It'd be great if he started fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
All right. Let's talk about Jermall Charlo versus Hugo Centeno. Is it Centeno or Centeno? Centeno. Okay.
Centeno. Yeah.
Jermall Charlo knocked out Hugo Centeno to the surprise of absolutely no one. This made him the mandatory challenger to Triple G. Man, I tell you what, Charlo's at championship level now. I want to see him fight that type of competition, man. No more Centenos. It's time, and I understand this was what it was, a mandatory or whatever to see who gets, the status for Triple G, but come on, man. I mean, this was nothing. I mean, everybody knew Centeno was getting starched from the opening bell.
No, Eric, look, you know me, I'm a Triple G guy, but if Triple G is going to continue fighting, he can't avoid these people anymore. And I'm not accusing him of avoiding anybody, but the point is, you know, you can't wait for, you know, people, as we're going to talk about later. You've got to fulfill, if you're going to hold belts, you got to fulfill your obligations. And he earned his title shot, so he can't be avoided.
But none of this, you know, and we'll go into this in the news or whatever, but none of this is really Triple G's fault. We'll talk about all that.
No.
B, what were your thoughts on Jamal Charlo? Is he the real deal? He looks pretty real to me, man. I would favor him over Triple G, to be honest.
You know, this is what I like about both the brothers, and I said this many times. And shout out to Joshua Jernigan, aka Ashy Knuckles, because he told me I remember when these guys first came out, they had six or seven fights. He's like, these guys can fight. They're like dogs in there. But that's, you know,
Texas, right?
Yeah, it's the guy from Texas.
Yeah.
And I every time I shout out to him, man, because every time I watch them fight, I think of him, because he used to go to that gym. That gym is you know, he lives in Houston. That gym is like right down the street from his house. He used to go there with his camera, and he was talking to these guys when they were just starting out, and they weren't who they are today. And he always said, these guys are gonna be something, and they are something.
Crazy.
The thing with both of the brothers, though, is they're just so calm and relaxed, and they see everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, they see everything, and they can hit you. You give them the smallest opening, and they're gonna get through. And when they do get through, they hurt you. They don't have to load up with shots. You see that hook he threw? It was like the shortest, most picture perfect, compact punch you could land, and they can still generate power like that. These guys are naturally gifted athletes. They were born to fight. I'm just being real with you. They know how to fight, and they can. You could see them in there. Like, I thought he lost the first round. I thought Centeno did great in the first round. He was moving well. He was throwing feints. And shout out to another guy, Barbershop Conversations, here on YouTube, because he was shooting a video, and he was walking to the hotel down the street with Centeno, because Centeno didn't want to take the shuttle because the traffic was horrible. So they were walking together, and he was talking to him. He's like, yo, man, it was in the first round, I just felt so comfortable. I had so much confidence. I could hit him when I wanted to. I was feinting him out of his socks. I felt comfortable. And then I just got a little greedy in the second round because I had such a good first round. And that's the thing. Like, they let you think you're doing what you want to do in there. And it's even Jamal. Like, you sit there and say, oh, you know, Jamal's giving away rounds. He's doing this. He's doing that. And then on the turn of the dime, they can turn the fight. It's almost like they're playing with these opponents. It was almost like, you know, like last night he said, you know what, let this guy get comfortable. Let him come to me. Let him think he can do what he wants. And then as soon as he gives me that little minute, boom, that hook was right there. Set it up, and the right hand. If you watch when he threw the right hand, it was kind of like, you know, it was like a throwaway punch. He threw it over the top, kind of looped it, but it wasn't really that hard. It really wasn't really that hard. He kind of just threw it over the top, had the guy react to it, you know, and then as soon as he reacted to it, created that little opening, that little piece of space that he needed, zoom, the hook was right there. And he just cranked that one right from the hip. So these guys are smart. These guys can fight. And I like Jamal better. Jamal seems to be a little bit more he's a little bit more composed than Jamel. Jamel seems to be a little bit off the rails now. He's like really like overly boisterous now. He's very confrontational. Yeah, he's very confrontational now. Like he's like he's at the press conference trying to start fights with people, and Jamal's like, man, calm down, it's okay. You know, and it just seemed very awkward with Jamel in the ring with Ronnie Shields and Jamal, because every time Ronnie Shields was trying to get close to Jamal, pat him on the back, get close to him, give him a hug, whatever. Jamal kind of like tried to break it up and stuff. And it's sad because, Ronnie Shields took both these guys, brought them up both together. And again, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but it was just sad to see that. Like, and again, Jamal's got a beautiful trainer too, man. Errol Spence's trainer is an outstanding trainer. So it's not like he got a bad trainer. Derek James, yeah. He's an outstanding trainer. But it's just sad. It was just sad and a little bit awkward to see that moment in there. Ronnie Shields is kind of like, trying to get close to Jamal. And it seems like ever since he left Ronnie Shields, Jamal he's got this real rough edge to him now. He's kind of, in your face type of me against the world type. And Jamal doesn't come off like that. And he doesn't fight off emotion as much as Jamel does. And Jamel got some knockouts recently too, because Jamel used to be the guy we used to say was the boxer, and Jamal was the power guy. But now, I think he sees I think he resents the fact that his brother's known as the power guy, and he wants to be the power guy now too. So it's not only just him being overly aggressive in the ring. I think he's taking that persona outside the ring. He's trying to be like a Mike Tyson outside the ring now, and I don't know. Either way, he can still fight. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's a little bit more upside with Jamal, in my opinion, because he seems to be a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more disciplined in terms of the emotion. And I think you have to control your emotion when you fight at this level. You can't get taken out of your game plan.
Robert, what were your thoughts on Gervonta Davis?
Well, he did what he was supposed to do, Eric, and he did it rather quickly. But I'm looking forward to see if Floyd Mayweather, with all of his talk, can actually deliver what he says. He says that Lomachenko is next. We'll see if that actually happens. Something tells me that Floyd Mayweather and Bob Arum can't negotiate anything. So I don't take that seriously. But let's see if that is delivered. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, and he did it rather quickly.
But Floyd doesn't talk to Bob. He talks to Todd DeBuff. He talks to Todd DeBuff over there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eric.
Gervonta Davis was going to just roll right through Jesus Cuellar. I believe that was.
Yeah. I was way off on that.
I'm just saying.
I was thinking about you yesterday when you said that, because he walked in like that.
I will say this, man. Cuellar looked big at that weigh-in, and Tank didn't look that great at the weigh-in.
This was an impressive victory, and I know people aren't going to give him a ton of credit for it, but Cuellar is a good fighter. He is a solid fighter, and Tank looked outstanding last night. He looked really good.
Yeah,
and that Tank, I'm going to say something ridiculous right now. I wouldn't pick him to beat Lomachenko. I would have to pick Lomachenko. But that Tank that I saw last night, he makes it a fight. I'm just saying. I know people are laughing at me, but these same people are laughing at me. Remember Tyson Fury over friggin' Klitschko, Miguel Cotto over Sergio Martinez. Remember that?
Martinez was on one leg.
Yeah, but I was telling people that before the fight. You know what they said to me? Oh, he could be in a wheelchair and still beat him. Cotto's too small.
Apparently not.
There's nobody. Robbie remembers. Did anyone pick Did anyone pick Cotto? Robbie, you remember? They were laughing at me. You were there.
No, most people picked Martinez, although I was not one of them.
Robbie?
I was.
You picked Cotto. Or you picked Martinez. You picked Cotto. You picked Martinez.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Cotto.
That's
because I convinced you.
But no, seriously, guys, Davis looked impressive. Let's make sure he can stay at this weight, and let's step up the level of his competition. I don't know if he'll get Lomachenko. I think that's a pipe dream, but hey, if it happens, That'll be great, but
I think
That would be-
they don't want the fight,
to
though.
do.
I guarantee they don't want the fight.
They don't want Ellerby's going to talk Floyd out of it anyways. Floyd was just pissed one day. You know how Floyd has a bad day one day and he'll say something.
Right.
And the next day he backtracks on it. Ellerby probably said, Floyd, we got something here. You can't do that right now.
Yeah.
All right. And so Gervonta Davis was successful with a third-round KO over Jesus Cuellar.
Yep.
Rasheed Warren, Cincinnati's own, baby. Cincinnati was in the building last night representing, won the main event. I don't care what the judges say. They won the main event. Rasheed Warren, shutout on all the scorecards, 80-72. Rasheed Warren beats Juan Medina. Highly touted, highly ranked Juan Medina. Powerhouse Juan Medina. There you go. Across the pond on ESPN Plus. Beeb, did I get this right? ESPN Plus?
ESPN Plus, you're correct. That's correct.
What happened? They're giving you a 30-day trial, and then they want you to pay $5.
It's a 7-day trial, Robbie. It's not a 30-day trial. Trust me.
Okay.
Eric talked me out of it yesterday. I was tempted, but Eric talked me out of it. It's like, Beeb, how many channels do you need? You got the Roku going. You got everything. Enough, Beeb.
I was like, it's enough. I was trying to get him on a 12-step program. Amir Khan versus Phil LoGreco. Amir Khan needed just 39 seconds to knock out an overmatched, overhyped Phil LoGreco this weekend in the UK. Khan looked okay, but Phil LoGreco was just zero competition. I mean, this was a bigger mismatch than Charlo Centeno. The good news for Khan is it gets him back in the ring and puts him back in the talk for big fights. I mean, I guess he looked good while it lasted, but Phil LoGreco looked terrible. I mean, he looked like – I feel like the guy in the first row could have done better than Phil LoGreco this fight. This was awful.
I'm gonna sound like I'm from the UK, but let's sign the Cal Brook fight already and get it over with.
There you go. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this matchup? What about Eddie Hearn the Wank making this matchup?
Can I tell you something? The crowd was lit. It was a good move bringing Amir Khan back to the UK.
For sure.
In the United States, everyone would have booed after that fight. That crowd went nuts. And then Kell Brook came in the ring, So why can Kell Brook come in the ring and Deontay Wilder can't? What's the situation with that?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, they're both
like
promoted by the
let's
same
sign
guy.
that fight already.
Yeah, they're both promoted by the same guy.
It's
And
let's sign that fight already. Come on.
No, it's a good fight, but it'll have to be at some type of catchweight though, because, and you know what?
yeah,
Brook needs
Brook
needs to be at 154. You can't, and then they're sitting there, and then he's sitting there saying again, "Oh, well, I can make 147." Like, enough with that, Brook. You gotta have say something and stick by it. You can't say that you can't make 147 anymore and then say you can. It's like one day he can make it, another day he can't. Make up your mind. I mean, let's.
How about 150 for both? What do you think?
Well, that's what I said to some people on Twitter yesterday. But even that's a stretch for it's okay for Brook, but he moved up to 154 for a reason, But 150 is a good compromise, absolutely, no question about it.
All right. On YouTube, Carl Frampton versus Nonito Donaire. Carl Frampton defeats Nonito Donaire 117-111 on all three scorecards. I saw highlights of the fight and everything like that. I didn't actually see this fight. It is what it is. I mean, Carl Frampton, he's another one that needs to start, he needs to get back in the fray here, man, and beating a guy like Nonito Donaire. He's got a name, but Donaire hasn't had a meaningful fight, I believe, since Rigondeaux, and he got smashed in that fight. I thought, which I thought that was the last time he looked at his best, was the fight prior to the Guillermo Rigondeaux fight, because Rigondeaux just destroyed him.
A lot of people, believe it or not, were picking Donaire. My friend I was talking to.
I heard that, yes.
Because Frampton didn't look great in his last fight. I had him winning his last fight by like a point.
Yeah.
And based off of that, people, but this is what I said. I was telling people, Frampton has a ton of respect for Broner and his power. You're not going to see that same Frampton that you saw in the previous fight, in this fight. And we didn't. He clearly won 9 rounds easily. Easily. You know, there were a couple rocky moments here and there, but Frampton dominated this fight. It was no contest.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's crazy about Frampton, too, is he's got the shortest arms, but he's such a good he's a really good outside fighter. He's really good at gauging range. He knows how to step in and, you know, not smother himself, and he's a sharpshooter from the outside. It's amazing how good he is on the outside.
That Santa Cruz loss hurt him. That Santa Cruz was bad.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt Santa Cruz. It hurt Frampton.
Yeah.
You know, that first loss didn't hurt Santa Cruz. The second loss, it definitely hurt Frampton. Got in his head because he has not been the same in the sense that he's not been fighting top-level guys. You know, you call it management or whatever you want, man.
It hurts your confidence. Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes when guys get that first loss, it's like you know, losing your first love. It's like it takes time to get over it. You know, there's growing pains involved in it.
Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton put on 2 good fights, and you know, I want to see the Jackal get back up to that level, and hopefully this win will help him to do that. Now, since he lost the rematch, he switched promoters, so I don't know if that's going to make a difference. He's no longer with Eddie Hearn; he's now with Frank Warren. So,
he was never with Eddie Hearn, but he was with what the hell is that guy's name there? He was with McGuigan.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now he's with Frank Warren. So I don't know if that's going to prevent.
Oh, that won't hurt. That won't hurt anything. That won't hurt anything.
Notorious in the chat just said Khan is like the UK Broner.
Okay.
Oh man. All right, we're gonna head to the phones now, and we're gonna start it off.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Oh, you're terrible, Robert. You're terrible. Jason. Apparently Jason was banned from chat.
What's going on?
Apparently Jason was banned from the chat.
I think Beeb has added enough. I exposed his gay crush on Eddie. I guess we went too far or something. I don't know why. I'm sorry, Beeb.
Eric, myself are married men. You know, we're very uncomfortable hearing another man talking about another man's penis and another man's testicles.
Oh,
if you want to talk about that stuff, and
nobody's uncomfortable except you, because maybe
because I'm a heterosexual male. I'm a heterosexual male. Okay, I'm a married man. I don't want to talk about another guy's penis.
It was a joke. It was a joke. I'm sorry.
It creeps me out. It creeps me out when another guy is talking to me about a dick and balls. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm not homophobic, but I am not. I am not a gay
got married over the weekend. That's all I said.
In my own.
I am not gay. I'm not gay. I know you want. I mean,
I just said you got. I just said you and Eddie got married over the weekend. That's all. That's all I said.
But I can't marry another man. I'm not gay. I'm sorry, Jason. I'm taken. I'm married. I'm married. You're creeping me out.
Robert's a playboy too, so this goes for
Robert. Is 100%
ladies.
You're creeping me out.
But Beeb, you're making some good points, man. I was gonna agree about Tank and the Tank's performance. He looked like a pro last night. You know, he's always messing around. I don't know. It seemed like he had a game plan last night, going to the body from round 1. He broke him down.
Remind me of Mickey Ward.
Or knocked out before in his career, has he?
No.
He got dropped by Mars, but he was never stopped or anything, was he?
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Last night was his first clean knockout loss.
No.
And Robbie, that was some disrespectful shit when they asked you what you thought about Tank. You were just like, you like did like a he did what he was supposed to do. Like it was just some fucking he was fighting some chump. Like, but I don't remember you saying that when after Lomachenko fought Mariaga. I don't remember you having this kind of a negative reaction. You probably said, "Oh, it was a good performance."
Stay on topic now. Stay on topic.
Poo-poo that shit.
Stay on topic.
I said if Lomachenko did what
Stay on topic. Let's not talk about last Christmas when we had friggin'
I feel like a lot of people poo-poo.
Stay on topic.
People were giving him shit for beating Pedraza and when he was undefeated too. Go ahead, Beeb.
What I liked what he did last night was obviously the jab was incredible. But I don't know if you guys noticed this, it's like the old Mickey Ward trick where he would throw that little touch looping shot upstairs just to open up those body shots. He was really opening up those body shots. You notice he was kind of like touching them, throwing like a looping left hand over the top. Sometimes a little short right hook over the top, but it wasn't hard. It was like a decoy punch just to get him get him to bring his hands up, and then when he was going to the body, he was like room. So he's like doing that little touch upstairs, and then ripping the body shot.
He was throwing some really sharp uppercuts. Also, the speed on his uppercuts was crazy. Kind of like the uppercut Williams. You know, he had some really sharp uppercuts.
They were like 45s too. You know what I'm saying? They weren't like they were half hook, half uppercuts. He looked like an old school fighter last night. You know, that's what impressed me about him. How crafty he was in creating those openings, and how again, just like Charlo I mentioned, these guys are throwing short, compact shots that are really hard to defend against and really hard to see, and they're hurting guys. They just have naturally gifted power. They're able to put a lot of torque and a lot of weight and leverage behind their shots without having to really load up and really open it up wide to generate that power. A lot of guys really have to come hard over the top or really open up that hook wide to get that. These guys are like throwing short, compact, crisp, really powerful punches, man, and it's impressive. It's impressive.
And all this is with I don't think he has the best trainer. I don't even think he has the best strength conditioning coach. All this is without all that. I was arguing with Eric about how effective Alex Ariza is. I mean, if you look at David Benavidez, if you watch the first Gabriel fight and you compare it to the second one was he looked so good because he brought Alex Ariza on camp. Like he was like fucking running him crazy on the track and in the pool, and his nutrition was all controlled by Ariza. So I think Tank, he should invest in somebody like that, a good conditioning coach. You know, I mean, these guys need that too to go to the next level. But I don't think he's smart enough to even go ahead and find a guy like that. That's kind of sad, though.
That's the thing.
And I don't think Cunningham's the best trainer. If he was a Derrick James or somebody, I think he could go to another level. That's what I think.
Yeah, they don't want to spend any money on nutritionists or whatever. I think a lot of them think it's a waste of time. Well, I can cut weight. I can cut down. There's a lot more to it than that, you know. And like you said, I mean, that internet series they do to 25-8, that hood chef was putting cheese in their omelets, giving them bacon and shit. I don't think they're supposed to be doing that. They should be eating some healthier shit. Yeah, I mean, hire Chris Algieri, hire Alex Ariza, hire whoever, but just make sure it's a reputable guy, you know. And, it's just, I mean.
Wasn't he using the same chef that Broner was using, who was giving him salmon and stuff and vegetables? That's what I thought.
Salmon, but that guy was. I don't know. I think they need somebody like an organic chef. I'm just nitpicking too much. But what was I gonna say? I was gonna say the attendance was 13,900, and they had only opened the arena for 9,900, but they had to open some more sections because last Broner fight sold like 11,000 with Mikey, so they were only expecting around 10,000 with Vargas.
Cincinnati,
so they exceeded the limit.
When you got a guy from Cincinnati, people come out.
But most of the crowd was from Maryland. If you go back and watch Tank's introduction, most of the crowd was there from Maryland. They traveled to watch him fight. That's how loyal his fan base is from Maryland.
They were cheering for him, but I mean, obviously, Cincinnati was the most, was representing there. I mean, like I said, man, when you get a chance to see a fighter from Cincinnati, you got to go, and it's a must-see TV at that point.
Relax. Broner didn't even sell this many tickets in his hometown.
Yeah, that's true. I was there for
like 8,000 or 9,000 last time.
I don't even think it was that many.
No, and let me tell you guys the purses. The purses were 1 million Broner, 500K Vargas. Charlo got 500K. Tank got fucking ripped off. He got 350, and that was a punishment, I can tell. And they gave Cuellar 350 also. Cuellar didn't deserve 350. He should have gone like 200 maybe. So Tank got gypped by maybe like 150. He should have gone 500K because he sold the most tickets in that place. He got the biggest ovation, and you can just tell on the live broadcast. And Centeno got 235, which is decent, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, and This is like three fucking stacked cards in less than a month than PBC has done, which was Wilder Ortiz. Then it was the Vegas card with the Hurd and Lara, and now this. I don't even think it's been a month, right? These three cards have been less than a month.
Yeah, they've been.
When was Wilder Ortiz? Do you guys remember the date?
March
3rd. March 3rd.
Okay, a little bit more than a month.
March 3rd. I mean, March 3rd. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, they're killing it this year. They're doing a good job this year.
Yeah.
I like Showtime. I've always been a huge. If you notice, since they've been putting the fights back on Showtime, the cards have been better because they've been getting Showtime's been giving them the money for they're buying the cards. You know, Showtime does a great job, man. I love that analyst team. I love Al Bernstein. I like Paulie Malignaggi. Muro Ronaldo's grown on me.
I like Muro Ronaldo. I've always liked Muro.
I like him. I mean,
Beeb, let me ask you something, Beeb. All these three cards I just mentioned in the past month, is anybody else competing with PBC in boxing world right now or no? They're running everything.
It depends on what you. I mean, it depends.
Their cards have been the best this year.
I'm talking about talent-wise and 50-50 fights-wise. The last three cards. Is anybody competing with them?
No, absolutely.
Let's be honest here.
Unless you're talking about, if the fight on May 5th would have came off, then you got to give it that. But
yeah, but that was a pay-per-view fight. Let's talk about this in context.
And that card would have been bullshit. Right. That card would have been shit. We know that card would have been horrible.
But I got to be honest, man. Some of these fights could have been pay-per-view.
Steven Espinosa's doing a great job. I'm really happy with him.
Yeah, he is. I like Steven. He's friend of the show.
What? Steven Espinosa's the only one. Heyman's the fucking manager. He's the matchmaker. What do you?
Steven Espinosa's a genius.
That should be. You're not gonna give Heyman any props?
No.
Heyman's a great guy, man. I never met him before, but I heard good things about him.
He's a fan of Beeb.
Fuck you. You look at Beeb being condescending like a fucking asshole. Look at him.
He's a great guy, Heyman. When you go over there on Christmas, what do they usually serve over there? They have tender and they have a turkey.
Imagine if Eddie Hearn was putting on stacked cards back to back like this instead of Brook versus Rabchenko and Amir Khan versus LaGreca. What Beeb would be doing? Beeb would be like fucking covered in cum over there, like jerking off all over himself.
You know what I like though? You know what I like about Eddie Hearn?
He's some of that garbage.
He's talking about the sex stuff again. I'm getting creeped out again. I can't envision a guy coming on me. That's gross. That's disgusting.
He doesn't have any filters. He doesn't have.
What I like about Eddie though?
Just a joke.
What I like about Eddie, I like these stadium events that he puts on. I like what he's doing with Joshua. I really do. I like that.
He puts on great events. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that Conlon was a great event, right, Beeb?
What is it?
But he knows how to polish up a turd and sell it to you like it's gold. Like Amir Khan versus Low Greco.
No, you know what he's doing though. You know what he's doing.
Was trash. I mean,
he's starting to put on some crappy undercards now. His undercards are starting to be, But he puts on.
Do you even know the Jacobs versus Nike undercard? Who's going to be on there? Anybody? Do you know?
The Jacobs.
The only fights I know are the Jacobs fight and the Big Baby Miller fight before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess Katie Taylor's unifying with some girl, right?
Yeah, Victoria Bustos. Katie Taylor, Victoria Bustos. But then you're looking at it, and there's no names on there. I mean, absolute no names.
So you know what happens? This is what happens.
Horrible. Eddie's doing a lousy job, Beeb. And I want you to admit
it. But can I tell you something?
Most of his roster is full of local Europe talent. Like
what he's doing? You know what he's doing now?
They're all good fighters.
Anthony Fowler. Those guys pretty much suck. Those guys suck.
This is what he's doing. This is what he's doing because I've been following UK boxing for a while because, like I told you, a lot of people in the UK used to send me stuff, and I remember back in the day those cards used to be stacked. But you know what happens? He got a little big-headed because now he has Anthony Joshua. He had that big event with Kyle Froch and George Groves, right? So now he just like what Golden Boy used to do. Remember Golden Boy used to give you that big main event and give you trash on the undercard? Remember that? Now, Top Rank used to do that a lot too, right? So what happens is I think he got big-headed because
Golden Boy still does that. Golden Boy still does that every time.
No, but see, he's getting big-headed because he got the record. He got the record with Groves, Froch, right? Oh, all these people are coming. And now he's got Joshua. Oh, all these people are coming. So now he's saying to himself, you know what? I don't have to stack the undercard anymore. I'm going to invest in the main event. And a lot of promoters do that. And what happens? It comes back to bite him in the ass in the end because, well, it does nothing bites the UK in the ass. Those guys will fucking pay for anything over there. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but those guys are loyal fans. They'll buy anything.
Oh.
You know? No, Hatton used to lose. Frank Bruno used to lose all the time, and they would still come out to see. And they still loved them.
You know what?
They'll love you for taking a good beating in England. If you take a good beating for them, they'll love you forever.
Ricky Hatton. How many times Ricky Hatton lost? They loved him to death.
Yeah, they sure did.
You know.
There you go. Look at this.
Also, I wanted to shout out Nacho from last week. He made some good points about Oscar having too many enablers around him, like Eric Gomez and that fucking Diaz matchmaker guy. I mean, you can see videos on TMZ. Oscar fucking stumbling out of a club and Eric Gomez getting in the car behind him. Like, these guys go drinking all out together and shit. So Nacho was making some good points last week. So I agree with him. And
Eddie,
what do you guys think about Jojo Diaz, Gary Russell? I mean, Jojo Diaz has no chance, right? I mean, I don't know how.
Zero chance.
A lot of Mexican fans saying, I hope he knocks him out, but I don't think he has any chance against
Gary. Zero chance. He's going to get lit up.
My only concern about Gary Russell is how inactive he is.
He's an apex predator, Robert.
If he was more active, he would take this kid to school, and he might do that.
He was saying he wanted to protect his hands. His hands are really bad. That's what he was saying yesterday in a couple of interviews, and he was kind of getting aggravated. I guess he likes fighting once a year, and whatever. I mean, if he wants to fight once a year and he's not going to be a big star, I mean, whatever. As long as he puts on decent performances when he fights, and I don't think he has any worries against Jojo Diaz. What do you think, Eric?
All right, but he wants to be a big star. All right, that's what he said in that stupid interview he gave yesterday.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Spence and Gary Russell, they're kind of lazy about being stars. They don't go out of their way to promote themselves. So I don't think they can say they want to be, but they're not really working at it. I don't think Spence is working.
Errol Spence wants to fight 3 times a year.
Thurman's fucking retired. He should be calling out Danny. Danny was at the fight. He should have gotten in that face, but he didn't do any of that. So I kind of blame Errol Spence too. He's very passive.
Yeah, but Errol Spence doesn't want to act like a fool. He doesn't want to have to act like a fool to get fights.
Right.
But a lot of people. Same thing with Andre Ward. Andre Ward's
sooner or later to get these fights.
Yeah, but you don't gotta act like a clown. You don't act like if it's turning into you gotta act like an idiot to promote yourself. Then Anthony Joshua doesn't act like an idiot.
But at least put Danny Garcia on the spot. He's in the front row. Go walk up to him with a camera with Ellie Setback. At least go talk to him. Why not? Let's fight. Something, you know.
That's WWE.
Yeah. All right, Jason, we're gonna get running, man.
Nah. All right, guys. Thanks. Beeb, let me unblock me in the chat, bro. Come on. Don't be so sensitive.
You're creeping me out, man. I'm a heterosexual male. When I have another male talking to me about a penis, I get nervous. I'm just being honest. I mean, if you're gay, I have nothing against that. But I just want to let you know that I'm married. I like women. I have a beautiful woman. I don't have any interest in being with the man. So try someone else. Hit on someone else.
Beeb loves the ladies.
Hit on someone else.
All right.
No, look, this is a normal podcast.
You can make fun of me all you want, but when you stop propositioning me, with me, it creeps me out. I'm going to exercise my Me Too movement rights here.
The Me Too movement.
I'm going to exercise my Me Too movement rights here. All right.
Oh my goodness!
I don't want to be sexually harassed by another man. I don't want it. I don't want to deal with that.
Too much. I feel like I'm in prison right now. You know, I feel like I'm in prison where somebody's trying. You know, yeah. All right.
It is. I don't want to bend over or something, have something. You know, I don't want that.
Family show.
Sorry for the kids out there.
Family show, son, and you just took it to the gutter. What's the matter with you? All right. So, Beeb, it's up to you. If you want to leave Jason in timeout, we'll bring him back in the chat. It's up to you.
I'll bring him back in, but I have to see if I can find his channel, because when I do a search for it, nothing comes up. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I'll let him back in.
All right, Jason.
But I am going to exercise my Me Too movement rights.
Me too. Hashtag Beebs equals hashtag Me Too. Joe Lopez.
Right, he's unblocked, but I don't want to hear any sexual innuendo. You know, I'm a married man. Please.
That's Beeb's rules, not mine. That's Beeb's rules.
Like I said, we're a heterosexual show. All three of us are normal males. Okay, we don't.
I'm sure there's some gay bars in Georgia you can go to talk to guys like that if you want to get some action, but this ain't the place for it.
Stop it. Stop it with this anti-gay rant. You guys are terrible.
I'm not anti-gay. I'm just I am what I am. I'm heterosexual. You know?
All right, we appreciate that. We appreciate it. All right. So, Beeb, like I was going to ask you beforehand, did you see the interview with Gary Russell?
I did.
This moron
Yes,
calls himself
I did.
the apex predator. All right, among other things. Yeah, Gary Russell did an interview between fights last night. Calls himself the apex predator. Kept going on about how fighting is a business. You know, if you don't fight, people forget about you. It's that simple. Russell needs to lay off the predator gimmick. Just start fighting, okay? He doesn't have that same kind of charisma where he can just call his shots and make money on the sidelines. He doesn't have that.
You know what else is? You know what else is a business too, Eric?
What's that?
Selling hot dogs is a business, but if you come to my hot dog stand and I say I don't have any hot dogs, then guess what? I'm out of business.
I tell you, yeah.
He's dropping gems right now.
I'm sick of fighters like Gary Russell Jr., Keith Thurman, and Adonis Stevenson who don't want to fight anybody. I mean, for God's sakes, Keith Thurman says he hurt his hand, and that's why he didn't want to fight May 19th. Do we have any proof of the fact that he hurt his hand? That's why I call him Keith No Time Thurman, because he doesn't want to defend his title.
Well, they just strip him all.
He needs to be stripped.
Yeah,
and Gary Russell's the same way. Only fighting once a year. I don't tolerate crap like that. All three of these guys, Adonis Stevenson, Gary Russell, Keith Thurman, they need to get their fucking acts together.
Oh.
Whoa.
Goodness, Robert's on a roll today.
Whoa.
Speaking of somebody else who's going to be on a roll today, Georgie has promised an epic call, and he's asked us to get the children out of the room. His words, not mine. His words, not mine.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie.
What's happening, Georgie? You want to join me in the Me Too movement? You want to join me in the Me Too movement?
I didn't sleep whatsoever.
Me Too movement.
Really disappointed on fucking human beings, boxing fans, and on top of everything, Eric.
Oh, how dare you.
What else can go wrong?
How dare you. You know Broner won that fight yesterday. It was clean. It was clear cut. And Julie Letterman is the only one who got it right. Julie Letterman was the only one who got it right.
Out of the first 6 rounds,
4 and 5.
Rounds that you give them?
4 and 5.
You give them 4 and 5.
Yes.
Do you know that on the first 6 rounds, Vargas landed more, threw more, and pushed him backwards?
When it's not CompuBox.
All 6 rounds.
Not CompuBox. And it was not all 6 rounds.
So if you all 6 rounds,
nope.
They there. If you don't want to believe CompuBox, you can count it on yourself, like I do. Check the numbers of punches landed. We watch the tape.
But you know what?
6 first round was Vargas.
It's not about how many punches land. This isn't the amateurs.
One more round for Vargas to walk out of there with a win.
And he couldn't find it. He swept from 8th round on. I had Broner sweeping it from 8th round on. He almost had Vargas out of there at one point. He almost had Vargas out of there at one point.
Shout out to Supreme General, who follows me on Twitter and used to watch me on other shows and has been in this chat before. He had an identical scorecard to you, Eric. He had an identical scorecard.
Right.
I disagree with it, but I respect it.
Listen, I'm just not gonna even put up a fight anymore. I'm fucking unsubscribing from Showtime.
Title Town, baby.
I'm just not gonna put my money in this goddamn mafia. When her got Lara being that he didn't need no motherfucking knockdown. That was the only thing that saved him from the fucking draw. Another bullshit draw like the fucking Triple G, Canelo. That girl fucking, what the fuck is her name? She fought the Torres girl, Apolia Torres, the Hottie. They fought 8 rounds yesterday.
Yeah.
The Mexican girl Whipper. And they give it 6 fucking rounds to the other girl, to the Harry girl, because she's here from America. These people, these mafias break fucking dreams, rob careers, take decisions, and boxing fans don't do shit, don't give two fucks about it. Let me tell you something about Mr. AB. For all your motherfuckers out there supporting this cocksucker.
Whoa!
AB is known to go into a fucking a bowling place, make a bet, lose the fucking bet, go outside in the parking lot, follow the dude, pistol whip him, knock him out.
That's like the Goodfellas.
And rob cat.
That's like Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
And this is the motherfucker. When somebody in your family or it happened to yourself, don't go to the police, don't complain, don't say shit.
What kind of show do we have today?
Don't say anything. So this is the type of person you defending. The same mentality. Another one.
He starts laughing after. He starts laughing after.
I'm my brother's keeper. Yo, let me burn, because I'm done.
Go ahead.
Go with the Charlos. Talking about I'm my brother's keeper. Telling you that no matter what happens, if his brother is wrong or right, he's willing to die for what is wrong. Even if his brother is wrong. So when something happens to any of these fucking fans that you get jumped by two motherfuckers or some shit like that, remember who you support. Remember that. Don't ask for jersey. Don't call Cub. Don't complain to God. Don't say shit. Just remember who you backing. When this type of injustice from these type of fucking characters happens to you or one of your family members. Now going to the positive.
Is there any positive after that? I think you ruptured a spleen there, son.
Gotta keep a balance. But listen, it's outrageous. Vargas won. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. It's just, I'm tired of it. Bullshit draws, bullshit robberies. Just fucking, they want to make the rematch. People fall for this shit. I'm done. Just done with it. It's over for me. That's why the sport never goes forward. That's why we're the fucking lowest fucking rating in all fucking sports. And we come here back in the same hands to will. And supporting motherfuckers that you don't supposed to support. And then we got the mentality that, oh, Oscar de la Hoya, he's putting utensils of his anal. What about person his? Well, at least he's doing it on his fucking house. It doesn't affect you or any of your family members. But people don't see that. This is the hypocrisy we fucking get up in here. Humanity, baby, not looking good whatsoever. Making hero of these motherfuckers, man. Disgusting. Outrageous. But let me go back to the positive. Yo, Tank spoke like a gentleman. He made a fan of me. For where this man come from, he did a beautiful performance against the opposition, what questionable, what not. But you can see the skills. I think this man gonna make it big if he keep that pass. Now go ahead, respond. Any response there?
Holy cow, Georgie. That's all I can say is holy cow.
Yeah, I will say one.
I'm wrong. I want somebody to explain to me why I'm wrong.
Because Broner won the fight last night.
No, he didn't. It was a draw.
He did. He won it. He won. Beeb confirmed it.
No, I had a blues.
Beeb confirmed it. He said
No
his
way.
boy. He said his boy.
No, please.
Had it the same way I did. It's over with. That's it. That's the decision. More people.
No, I mean it was a close fight, bro. What can I say? It was a close fight. I thought he lost.
But
Eric, see that fight that I talk about the girl? Do you guys see the girl fight?
No.
I read about it though. I heard the decision was horrible. I mean, people think that Heather Hardy still won, but not by that wide of a margin. I don't know. I didn't see the fight, so I can't comment.
Yeah, she can go into modeling or something like that.
I saw the fight.
Her gig.
I saw the fight, and I saw her face.
Yeah,
Can't score facial damage though. Can't score facial damage.
Yeah. Well, you saw Vargas's face too.
But this is the same thing. Say what?
You saw Vargas's face too. He was busted up. He probably had to spend a couple nights in the hospital.
Yeah, but she got her shit busted up from the beginning of the fight. It wasn't not laying the fight. Not
What
the
does
same.
it matter?
Doesn't matter. You still got to score rounds. Got to score rounds.
Well, anyways, man, I just like really disappointed with the state of boxing. Really disappointed with the fan base. People just don't want to hear anything. They just want to live the dream and back up these characters that they don't fucking represent shit. I mean, it's just crazy. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something because I really don't like to talk about all the colors, but I'm gonna fucking bring this fucking point. How many times I time out Jason in the chat? My mom died of cancer. And I cried like a baby for fucking weeks, even months. And this motherfucker that I don't know from a fucking hole in the world fucking talking shit about my beloved mom.
No, yeah, you can't do that.
And this is the hero that they got on the chat.
I had to get rid of him. I had to block him.
Was that today?
He says nasty things. He does say nasty things.
Yeah, you can't say stuff like that. Can't say
He
stuff.
says really bad things.
That is not worth them putting a fight. Just let it be. Let people have fucking these fucking idols that they got and these bullshit fucking characters and let them fucking live their dream.
The way I look at it is we can argue over boxing all we want, but we can't argue over people's, family or anything like that.
But this is what we get. And we got it. But this is, it's frustrating because you try to do the right thing. I always try to do the right thing. Hey, I don't want to talk shit about the mafias and shit like that. I don't like to talk about people that I know the condition is just as me because they just fucking, you know what I'm saying, victims of these fucking mafias. Because every boxing fan just want to see the best fighting the best. And we getting draws and bullshit decisions and robberies. And it's a point, baby, I'm 44 years old. I'm tired of it. It's to a point that I'm just sick of it. Done. Humanity is to a point that it's not even worth saving. Eric, you remember I told you sometimes I don't even feel part of the human race?
Yes.
It's to that point, baby.
Oh,
Sadly.
man.
I'm glad that you guys are around. I'm glad that you guys take your time to, talk about the sport that we all live. But we got to come together. Because if we don't come together, baby, against these fucking mafia, it's over. You're just getting played. And I'm refusing to be in this fucking hamster wheel any longer. I'm just done with that.
George, you could be one of the Celestials. Maybe you're not from the human race. You're maybe one of the Celestials, or one of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe you're not part of the human race. Maybe you're better than the human race. Who knows?
Shout out to Beeb, brother. Mad love to you guys, man. I'm gonna call one of these. I go fire one now, but for the most part, I gotta really take a break because it's really frustrating. It's a thousand things. This is what these fucking mafia don't get. There's 1,000 things that we can do with our time, and we supporting and paying the subscription and this and that. And at the end of the day, you don't see any type of robberies like that in any other sport. Not even in WWE. A quarterback can make a fucked up call. A fucking umpire can make a fucking fucked up call. You know what I'm saying? But judges take away rounds like that even happened. And they want to blame it that there was what was that girl, the lady that fucked up the fucking Canelo Triple G scorecard?
What was her name?
Adelaide Bird.
Adelaide Bird.
That lady that right there. Then they want to put the blame on her and on the other judge and this and that. Baby, it's all coming from the top. humanity doesn't represent humanity. Humanity get represented by the cocksuckers on the top who don't give a fuck about none of us. And we go in there to the fucking stadium feeding the fucking beast. It's just, man, I'm done with it. That's pretty much my goal. Hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Everybody out there support these people because they're good people.
All right.
Don't give up, Georgie.
All right.
Yeah, Georgie's a little down this week. Georgie's
I'll send him an edible arrangements.
Two horrifying phone calls to start this show.
Maybe it was better when Blog Talk was down.
Jeez.
I'll send him a fruit basket.
Yeah, send Georgie a fruit basket or something like that. I mean, he's down, man. He's down. He was down after the Canelo, the Triple G fight too. He'll bounce back. He'll bounce back. Danny Jacobs fighting this weekend. It's all good. All right. Speaking of all good, let's keep it going here. 8:05. 8:05. You're live.
Hello, Nacho.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nacho.
I don't know last night. Anything to top those two fucking calls. That was pretty. Talk about two different ends of the spectrum.
And
anything.
Georgie's one of our good callers.
One guy's talking about money shots.
Yeah,
other guy's talking about the end of the world.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you got?
Yeah.
I hope it's something good, Nacho. Please
Nacho
give it something good.
Please tell me Jessie Vargas called last night.
I'm not going to promise it's good, but it's definitely not going to be as fucking crazy as those two calls.
Okay,
that's for
good.
Sure. All right. So as far as the fights last night, Davis, I kind of agree in a way with Robbie because as good as Cuellar was at featherweight, the guy sat on the shelf for almost a year and a half, and then he's moving up and having to fight Davis pretty much with no tune-up whatsoever, and the guy gets steamrolled. So, yeah, of course, every advantage was given to Davis in that fight. Do I give him credit for starching Cuellar the way no one else has? Yeah, but you also got to temper it by the fact that the guy hadn't fought in almost a year and a half, and he's moving up.
Well, Nacho, my question is, did he move? Did he not fight for the last year and a half? Was that by his choice?
You can. I think you have to ask everybody on the PBC, Robbie, because the story always is that some of these dudes get offered fights and they turn them down, and then other guys take fights on short notice. So we don't know what the hell's going on.
That's one of my biggest problems with Premier Boxing Champions. You got guys like Keith Thurman, Gary Russell, Adonis Stevenson. They just sit there. They just sit there, and don't want to fight anybody. I mean, look, we could. A lot of us would get behind the PBC a lot more than what we do if these guys would actually agree to be more active and actually fight one another. You can't really support guys who want to collect their belt and not do anything. I mean, I can't defend Gary. Gary Russell's probably going to beat Jojo Diaz, but I give Jojo Diaz a hell of a shot just because he's more active. He puts himself out there. Granted, the competition may not be as great, but at least he's in the gym. He's active. I mean, I really have problems with people who, well, I've been off for a year and a half, and that's why I got clobbered. Well, whose fault is it? Is it yours?
Yeah, no, that's true. You're totally on the right track. But like I said, that's what happens when you have a roster of 200 fighters and you don't have enough outlets to put guys and keep them active.
That's it.
At the end of the day, the only one that can be blamed is Al Heyman and his PBC brand. You can't have 200 guys on your roster and then be shocked that a lot of these dudes don't fight more than once or twice a year because you have no other outlets to put them on. Showtime is your main outlet. You have no more ESPN. You rarely use Fox. And then you have some fucking channel called Bounce that most of us don't even see. So, I mean, at the end of the day, these fighters knew what they were signing up for once, the shit hit the fan as far as Heyman ran out of money. So
yeah,
they should
I believe some of these guys, if they don't fight, they need to be stripped. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I totally agree.
Adonis Stevenson is finally going to fight his first real fight since he won the title. Badu Jack is going to go into Canada and give him everything he can handle. And you know what? I think the inactivity is finally going to catch up with him. Jerry Russell, on a normal Saturday night, he'd probably wipe the floor with JoJo Diaz. But at least I have to give Diaz a decent shot just because Russell hasn't done anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the one thing I don't get when Jason said, oh, he has messed up hands, so that's why he doesn't fight more than once a year, then do what Floyd did and go hire a guy who can actually wrap your hands and protect them and have you be more active. The fact that you're sitting on the sidelines just because your hands hurt, that's either fucking you being cheap or you just really not wanting to fight, like you said, Robbie. So at that point, you have to blame Gary Russell for that one, you know. But yeah, I agree with you.
I cannot get behind guys like Keith Thurman, Adonis Stevenson, or Gary Russell, because all I hear is one excuse after another. I'm not getting paid enough. This, or I'm not ready for this. Or in Keith Thurman's case, oh, I need 3 fights before I can fight somebody like Earl Spence. Really? Whose fault is it you haven't been fighting? It's your own. A good thing I'm not commissioner of boxing, because people would start losing titles real fast.
Ooh.
Yeah. As the other fight, Charlo and Centeno, I picked Charlo to win that fight, but I honestly thought Centeno was going to actually give him some way halfway decent fight before Charlo took him out. But the fact that he knocked him out in 2 rounds was pretty surprising, to say the least, to me.
Yep.
I thought the kid might give him an actual fight, and he actually got caught, and it was over once he caught him. So, I mean, I agree with you, Robbie. At some point, he's going to have to get a shot probably at Golovkin or at Jacobs or Saunders, somebody.
No, look, you know me, Nacho. I'm a Triple G supporter, but Triple G needs to quit waiting for Canelo. He needs to fight. He needs to give Danny Jacobs a rematch. He needs to fight Charlo. He needs to fight Saunders. And Eric and Beeb, I don't want to hear, well, he might lose these fights. You know what? If he loses, at least he defended his title. You know, if you're going to be a real champion and you're going to hold these belts, you need to act like a champion.
Can I say something, Robbie?
For somebody that got suspended.
Can I say something, Robbie?
And then as far as the main event, I have to disagree with Eric and Beeb. I had Vargas winning by.
No, I had Vargas winning too.
I felt like Vargas.
Beeb had Vargas winning, Nacho.
Oh, okay. Well,
I had a 115, 113.
7-5. I felt Vargas dominated 5 of the first 6 rounds.
Yes.
And then in the last 6 rounds, I thought that Broner won 4 of the last 6.
Exactly.
So that's a 7-5 card. And I just felt like Broner came on right at the very end to try to make it close, but he gave away too many rounds at the beginning.
That's what I
at the beginning, Vargas was hitting him consistently to the body and throwing jabs and connecting pretty frequently, along with mixing up right hands and hooks. And Broner just either was trying to fucking conserve his energy because he felt like if he went all out at the beginning, he was going to get tired, or he was just, just laying back and waiting to see if Vargas would get tired, which Vargas did by the 8th round. You could tell that he was completely spent.
Well,
but I still had Vargas winning that fight.
Every time Jessie Vargas loses a fight, it's always because of stamina. He's never been able to really do well in a 12-round fight if it goes the distance. He's got real stamina issues, and he needs to hire somebody to help him with that, because if Jessie Vargas had had real good stamina like most fighters, he might still be undefeated. In both of his losses is because his stamina is the reason why he's lost.
Well, it wasn't a Bradley fight, but in the Pacquiao fight, he just got dominated. He didn't really do much in that fight,
right?
To be honest, you know, it had nothing to do with stamina.
Yeah,
he got dominated. It had absolutely nothing to do with his stamina, Robbie.
Yeah.
As far as I just want to make one quick point that Jason brought up about the whole ticket sales. There's a dude on Twitter named Jim Boone, and he sells tickets out of Vegas, and he keeps track of what events sell what tickets and everything. And he posted on Twitter that some fans were tweeting him that apparently the PBC was sending out promotional discounts for seats for that fight last night. Some of them were 2 for 1 or like 50% off.
Yeah, no, I'm very familiar with Jim Boone, and he's a top-notch guy. He's in the ticket business. He has been for years. And if you want the real scoop on tickets, he's a real top-notch guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, Nacho, and so like when I hear Jason always bring up numbers, it's like you got to take it with a complete grain of salt, because like when you see some of these people on Twitter just posting that they're getting offered freebies and discounts, it's like, come on, bro. Like, you can't take credit for that shit. Like, that's not how you sell tickets. You know, that just, you're basically papering the arena to inflate the numbers, when you really know that most of those people were never going to show up unless you gave them free or discounted tickets. And so that's the problem I have when he talks about, like, oh, the arena was so many people. And it's like, but how many of those people really bought tickets? Right. Like, a lot of those people just got free or discounted tickets just to show up. And as far as the fights this weekend, I'm picking Jacobs to beat Sulecki.
All right.
Oh.
Who's your picks this weekend?
Yeah,
Jacobs,
we're going to talk about those. Yeah, we're going to talk about those.
Who's he got? Yeah.
Give us your picks, Jason.
Give me the picks. Give me the picks.
Go ahead, give the picks.
All right. Okay.
What are your picks?
Yeah.
Just give me the picks.
Go ahead, Nacho. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm picking Jacobs, and then I'm picking Miller to beat fucking Duapas. That's just a showcase for Miller. He's gonna win that fight. And then the top rank card, I'm picking Jesse Hart to win his fight against Nicholson, and I'm picking Jesse Magdaleno to beat Dogbo. Although that's gonna be a really tough fight. I don't think Jesse knows what he's in for, because that kid can actually fight. And he can punch a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how he does, but I'm picking Magdaleno to win the decision. That's it, guys. I'll just talk to you guys next week then.
Okay, see you, Nacho.
Thank you, Nacho.
All right, see you.
All right.
Good deal. Just in regards to the PBC and the ticket sales and everything, that's not uncommon at all. I mean, it's really every big fight does that. Every fight does that. You can't really take away from ticket sales because of that. I mean, because you don't know, just because there's 13,000, he brings up a valid point. Just because 13,000 people are there doesn't mean you sold 13,000 tickets. It just means that's the attendance. But
Eric, that's why I like a guy like Jim Boone. He's always very upfront, very honest about how the tickets work.
As far as what? I mean, we know how the tickets work.
You know, as far as how many are actually sold and how many are free and discounted and what have you.
But when the attendance is announced, it's never going to be broken down like that, because no one's going to ever say, "Oh, my friend gave me this ticket for free" or whatever. It's just attendance is what the attendance is.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, I don't want to put words in Eric's mouth, but at the end of the day, if you want to see the event, you're going to show up for it. If you don't, you're not going to show up. Like if you gave me tickets to something that I wasn't interested in, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I'm sure
people showed up. You know.
Yeah, they showed up because they wanted to be there, and they were very enthusiastic in being there. So I think that's the point that really matters at the end of the day.
There you go. All right.
Right.
Area code 812. 812. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe, man.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Yeah,
what's up, brother?
I've been listening to the whole show, man. We had some unique conversations today, man.
Some conversations I never thought I'd have on this show.
I'll try to bring some positivity to the show. I gotta share a quick cool story, man. You know, we're all hardcore fans, like people that call in, you guys, and fans that listen, and you know, I'm a social worker, so I try to get my most of my coworkers, they're into baseball, football, and basketball. So anytime I bring up boxing, they always bring up, oh man, you know, the olden days, the Tyson era, or even some even are older, like talk about Ali and stuff, but mostly the 90s era. So every time I bring up boxing, they're like, oh man, nah, I can't watch it. I don't have that channel, this and that. But my goal was, you know, I'm like, I got to start getting my friends to start watching boxing, because I don't really have anybody to talk about it with besides you guys, you know. So there's this one one of my good friends. He's in his 50s. He's a coworker of mine. I showed him the Broner post interview, the press conference when he went off on Leonard Ellerby. And he was like, "Man, Joe, what is that? What's going on there?" He didn't even know. He didn't know who Broner was. He didn't know who Leonard Ellerby. He didn't know. He basically knew nothing. But he was like, that intrigued him to watch the fight. And he was like, "Man, Joe, I don't got that channel, man. I ain't gonna be able to watch it." I told him, I said, "Hey, man, all you got to do is call your cable company and get the Showtime free trial for the month." He's an older guy, man, so I wasn't sure if he was going to follow up and do it. Man, this guy called me yesterday and said he called his cable company, he got the free trial, and that he was going to watch the fight, and he got him, his wife, and he's got two teenage kids that end up watching the fight. And to them, guys, that was like one of the best. Like, they never seen nothing like it. Like with Broner's antics and just the scene that the Barclays Center, to us, we're going to pick and nitpick the fights and stuff like that. But to him, he was like just blown away by it. He's like, "Man, I've been missing out on this."
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I felt good. And then actually, Eric, he's actually the guy, I'm taking him with me next week to Louisville. This guy's in his 50s. It's his first fight he's ever attended live.
Oh, he's going to love it.
So we're going to the fights next week. And so I'm getting some more fans, man. Trying to bring some more fans to the sport.
That's awesome, man.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, he's going to love it.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, I said he's going to love it, man. That Louisville card, especially that live fights, it's going to be exciting because it's a tournament format. Yeah, he's going to love it, man.
Yeah, we're really excited. And like I said, he was just blowing, like he just never seen nothing like it. Like, she's like, "Man, who is this Broner guy? Why is he talking like that?" If you understand, "Man, you've been missing out. You should have seen stuff in the past." But, just going back, I finally realized, Eric, like, I know that you're a homer, he's always going to cheer for Broner, but I think at this point, for me, it took a long time to realize he is who he is, man. And I really think, I think he can fight guys and maybe beat guys like on that Jessie Vargas, Brandon Rios level.
For sure.
But if you go a notch above that, the elite level, I don't think he's gonna. And I think he'll be protected going forward. I don't know if he's gonna.
He's gonna have to.
I just don't see him beating any elite guys.
No.
And I don't know I don't even know if how he would do at 147. This catchweight stuff is.
Well, that's why I said earlier, I don't know if Kevin Cunningham is going to be given a chance to really make a difference, because what kind of career does Adrien Broner have in front of him? Who can he actually fight, and what weight class can he actually stay in?
Yeah, and that's another thing I was thinking about. Some guys, do you think, and this is this opinion here, I want to hear from all you guys, if I don't know if this is possible. This is me being fantasy matchmaker. But do you think if stuff got that sour between him and Leonard, I know he's with Al Heyman, but do you think the contract runs out, a fresh start at Top Rank or Golden Boy would do him any good, or this is kind of the end of the road? I don't really see him headlining a championship card anymore. I'm not. Maybe I'm mistaken here. I'm looking too much into it. But I don't see what we get out of it besides the circus act.
I honestly don't know what options he has, because he can't make 147, and it looks like he has trouble staying at 140. So that's my whole question is, what kind of career does Adrien Broner actually have? Who can he actually fight?
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
I'll let you keep putting them in there.
The career he's got is he's got, listen, put 14,000 people in the arena last night. No title was on the line. That's what kind of career he's got. You know what I mean? I mean, the guy is selling out fights. The guy is selling out arenas with nothing on the line. I mean, let's face it, there is nothing on the.
But Eric,
show up.
But Eric, who can you put him in the ring with?
Put him in the ring with Jessie Vargas.
Okay,
he just beat him last night.
Eric, let me ask you this: at this point now, if you're Broner, though, would you want bigger? Would you ask for a Danny Garcia or the Sean Porter rematch?
No.
Or would you ask just for keep rematches with Vargas and stuff like that, and Brandon Rios and that's 100% fighters?
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, because right now I've got a promoter hat on, and my promoter hat says there's no way we put him against upper echelon guys. there's no way we put him against, Mikey Garcia again or anything like that. He's going to lose to those guys every day. But when there's guys we can put him against, there's guys we can put him against that give him a shot. Jessie Vargas was a good one because he's like a name guy. People know him, but he's not that dangerous. You got other guys out there. They can make a meal ticket of him. Look at Chavez back in the day when he was fighting on like Tyson undercards and stuff like that. And I mean, when he was after Tyson got locked up, then he started fighting. But I mean, he didn't fight like really big name guys. I mean, they were all good fighters. But they were never like huge name guys. And don't get me wrong. I mean, they're not Eric, superstars, they're great fighters though.
At what point do you start saying he's going to be 29? What point do you say as a fighter, like, I want the best fights possible, like the best opponent. Win, lose. If he's going to be a draw regardless, why not challenge yourself to the best that you can fight? I mean, I just look at his last. I mean, I know the Mikey deal, that was a big fight there, but again, the weight. I want to see him fight one of these big guys at 147 and really see what he's about. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can successfully fight at 147, and I don't even know if he can stay at 140. That's my problem with Adrien Broner. I don't know. I don't know what you can do with him.
As a promoter, you love him. As a promoter, you love him because he's going to come out and he's going to sell tickets. The flip side of that, and the thing that you were talking about, where does he himself? What does he see in the mirror? Quite honestly, I think he sees the end. And I think that, these are fights, that he's going to cash in. He's going to make as much money as possible. Because, I mean, listen, man, I think as a fighter, he still thinks he can compete at the highest levels. Realistically, though, as a promoter, you got to say, should I make, if I can keep this guy three fighters, okay, and have him possibly win the 3 fights and make money on each one of those fights, or put him in a really big fight, have him get demolished. You know what I mean? It's,
I still think a nice fight. Like I said, I want to see him. I know, Robbie, you said you don't really think he's got a chance, but with Danny Garcia's style, can you see a big? I mean, I know they definitely sell that center out in Brooklyn, but can you see Broner faring well in that matchup at least? Or do you still think Danny would make easy work of him?
Danny hits too hard. That's why, and I think it'd be a problem. Danny's a big guy too. Danny's big. He's strong. Danny's physically strong.
Yeah.
Look at Danny and Matisse.
Definitely see.
Look how Danny was manhandling Matisse when Matisse got inside. So.
Yeah. Guys, I guess let's see real quick here. Just real impressed with the Charlo brothers, man. They're on it. They're on a tear right now. So I'm real, I'm becoming real. It seems like they're becoming the new. Every so often, every couple of years, or every so often, we get these new fighters. Are like, okay, they're the man. They're the man now. Kind of like how one time there was Thurman. I wish he would fight more, but that's enough. We can talk about him later. But Spence, Spence is that man now. It looks like the Charlos are going to be that man now. So are the guys that people are must see TV. So just real excited about them, man. But that's really all I got, guys. I just I ain't talked to you guys in a minute and want to check in. On a side note, Eric, did your boy watch that WrestleMania?
He did. He loves it. He's going to watch the one on Friday too. Apparently, there's one on Friday. I said you can't stay home from school from it, but he's going to watch it when he gets home or whatever. The one from overseas or whatever, the Saudi Arabia or something like that.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's good. That's awesome. Hey, man, give it a shot, man. It's not that bad, man. Give it a shot, man.
Hey, the Andre the Giant documentary was fantastic.
Did you?
People haven't watched that.
That was really good. Yeah, did you watch that, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I loved it, man. I loved it. And that was awesome. But I hope HBO does more of those, or just old school guys. And Bruno just passed, man. He did. Yep. But, his funeral was yesterday. I don't want to hijack the show with wrestling, man, because I know there's people are going to start throwing the tomatoes at us, man. So, but hey, you guys take care. Eric, I wish you were going this Friday, man. It's a good show out there, but
I know. Well, have a good time out there, man.
Francisco Santana, man.
I love Chia Santana.
I'll get in touch with you guys soon. Beeb, Eric, and Robbie, take care.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, Francisco Santana, friend of the show. Love it. Love it. Good call for Joe. Thank you so much, Notorious VC. He gave us $3 in the chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And Notorious, your wish has been granted. Area code 804. 804, you're live.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? This is Corey Lee's Boxing. What's
Corey
up?
Lee, what's
Hey, we're good,
up,
Corey.
my man?
Oh, man. Where do I start?
And
man?
Notorious
Wow,
Notorious
what a
got you
compelling-
online. I just got to have you know that Notorious wanted you online, and there you are. So he's a big fan of Corey Lee boxing. But hey, who isn't? Who isn't a big fan of
Yeah,
Corey Lee?
he paid money to get Corey online. There
That's
you go.
right. Hey,
Hey,
Corey is
Notorious, I
pay-per-view.
appreciate that, man. Like I said, I lost my voice last night. You know, we went for 4 hours last night, man. But, you know, I ain't going to talk too much about my show, man. I seen a lot of guys on my last time when I, you know, said something about my show. They had a lot of negative shit to say about me promoting my show. So I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to spoil it. You
All
know,
right,
it is what it is.
all right,
I
I'll
love
give it to
y'all
you.
show, man. Y'all keep doing y'all thing, man.
It's Corey Lee Boxing.
Yeah,
It's Corey Lee
let me
Boxing
get
on
into,
YouTube. So it's Corey Lee Boxing on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Nah.
So there you go. Yeah, absolutely. No. we can do that. We can give you a
Yeah,
shot.
man, I lost my voice last night, man. I went that damn hard, man. That fucking Broner fight was awesome, man.
Who did you have winning that fight?
All right, so my personal opinion is I picked Broner to win the fight initially.
Yeah.
And you know, I had Broner. I actually had Broner winning the fight, but it was a close fight. It was a fight like it could have went either way, man. It could have honestly went either way, man. You know, but you know, at the end of the day, man, it was a great fight. I definitely got my money's worth for having my Showtime subscription. And I mean, you know, like I said, man, PBC's putting on some pretty good fights, man. You know, you say what you may about Al Heyman and the rest of the, you know, fighters, but he's starting to put his fighters in pretty tough, man. You know, I mean, he's doing unified. He's got enough fighters now where he can do his unified, you know, fights now, fight cards where a unified champion could fight each other. And, you know, it's great to see, man. I can't wait to see, you know, like a Charlo versus a Herd, man. That'll be an awesome fight. So let me.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking
fight.
forward to that. That's gonna be that's gonna.
And
I
the
hope
first-
they make
let
that.
me-
I'm looking forward to that.
Let me do a fight because yeah. So a guy on my show he picked Cuellar for a knockout.
Ooh.
Then he went around and picked Centennial on a knockout. And then he said Jessie Vargas. You know what I'm saying? So he got pretty much all of them wrong. And he had to eat his crow at the end, you know what I mean? But it was real funny. But you know, I thought Cuellar did what I pretty much thought he was gonna do against Gervonta Davis. He was moving up a weight class. I did picture him getting stopped. I did say that. And you know, it was one of those type of deals where, you know, Cuellar was outgunned. You know, Gervonta Davis was a really, really good fighter. He was focused, poised. He didn't just get him out of there in one round, it took him two, you know? So, I mean, and, you know, that says a lot about Gervonta Davis because, you know, Abner Mares and Cuellar went life and death in that fight. A lot of guys tell me that Cuellar should have won that fight, you know? So if he's going life and death with Abner Mares and Gervonta Davis just cleans his clocks, you know, just wipes him out, you know, in 2 rounds, blasts him. Abner Mares did call out Gervonta Davis. I think that's a bad route for him to take. In my personal opinion about the whole situation is I think Abner Mares has Leo Santa Cruz problems. So
well,
before
he's
you
going to
call out
lose to
Gervonta
Leo
Davis-
Santa Cruz, so Abner Mares won't have to worry about Davis.
Before you calling out Gervonta Davis, you need to worry about Leo Santa Cruz. And, you know, so, you know, I had Gervonta Davis. I can't wait to see Gervonta Davis fight again. You know, I still want to see the Farmar fight, the Tevin Farmar fight. I still want to see it. Tevin Farmar just lost a decision to the Japanese fighter, but it got later called a no contest. So yeah, I mean, it's still Tevin Farmar is still relevant. He's supposed to be fighting for the belt coming up. If he wins that belt, it'll be a great fight, man. It'll be a great, great fight. And it'll be an East Coast fight. You know, I think that could be a main event fight. I honestly do. I think that'll be his breakout fight. I think if Gervonta Davis fights, 7 falls, that's a headline card. That's a headline card. Because Seven Farmar is starting to do his own thing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so the second fight, Charlo versus Centennial. Centennial had my respect when he knocked out Aleem, because Aleem beat the gold medalist from Ukraine. And, you know, he got my eye when he knocked out Aleem, because Aleem was a WBC silver champion. So when he knocked out Aleem at 160, it solidified itself at 160. I know a lot of guys want to make it, you know, like, he didn't do good. And, you know, Centennial was a 154-pounder, moving up and all of that. But Centennial pushed for this fight. Let me let you guys know that. He called for this fight. You know, Charlo didn't even know who Centennial was. Centennial is the one that called for this fight. He must have seen something in Charlo. He could look to the positives in his own skills, that he could implement his plan with Centennial. And, with Charlo. Centennial thought he could implement his plan with Charlo. That did not happen. That actually backfired. So, you know, for that being said, you know, Centennial goes straight to the bottom right now, you know, my personal opinion. And I don't think 160 is a good weight class for him. I think he needs to suck it up and make 154. I think Centennial could still be a good fighter at 154, but 160 is not what he wants. And I don't want to see him at 160 again anymore, because let's be honest, there's killers at 160. And if you're getting cleaned up in 2 rounds by Charlo, I mean, what do you think Triple G would do to you? What do you think Canelo would do to you? You know, it's not going to get any prettier. I mean, let's be honest. You know, with that being said, I got Charlo moving up in the depth chart. You know, I got him. I would love to see a Charlo versus Danny Jacobs. That'll be an awesome fight. Danny Jacobs fights this weekend coming up. I got Danny Jacobs winning by knockout. And, my personal opinion is, you know, I think Charlo, you know, since he's a WBC silver champion, I think he has say, man, in the whole Triple G sweepstakes. But they said that Derevchenko has next. They said the IBF is next. So I guess we got to wait to see the Triple G Derevchenko. I think Derevchenko could win that fight. I personally do. I want to see how Triple G looks versus Mata Rosen. But let's be honest. Triple G's, 37? You're not
36.
getting any younger.
36.
You're 36, but to be honest with you, he's not a normal 36. He's a 36 that's been through numerous training camps. I mean, he's been boxing his ears off since he was about 9 or 10 years old. I mean, back-to-back camps, you know what I'm saying? He's been fighting consistently since 2008? So what is that, 10 years? Every 3-4 times a year for 10 years straight? That's got to be a wear and tear on your body, man. And you're 36 years old. So I do favor Charlo versus Triple G. You know, and I favor Danny Jacobs in a rematch, because I think Danny Jacobs won that first fight. My personal opinion. And for the main event, Broner versus Vargas. I think Vargas, I would love to see Vargas versus some of the other contenders at 147. And as far as Broner is, we talked about it, you know what I'm saying? On the show or whatever, we were just pretty much like, you know, where does Broner go? And I asked everybody, I said, does Broner go to 147 or does Broner go back down to 140? He stated that he wanted to be at 140, but let's be honest, he had trouble making 144. He came in at 144.2. He had to take his draws off to make the weight.
Yep.
So when he finally made the weight, then he was able to fight. But I don't think if you're having problems with 144, it's going to be hard for me to see him make 140 consistently. And all we needed from Adrien Broner, and all we asked from Adrien Broner, is consistency. He's the most inconsistent fighter that I've ever picked to win, man. And that's my call. Corey Lee Boxing signing out. Y'all have a great night.
All right, Corey.
See you, Corey.
Good call. Good call. King David Clark is in the chat. And this message is for you, King David Clark. Send that girl all your money. Don't leave her hanging like that. Send her money. If she asks for money to keep the internet on, you send it to her. All right. All right. Area code 972. 972. You are live. 972.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's that guy from London I spoke to you about a month ago.
I remember
Oh,
you.
hello
How
there.
are you, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys haven't got me stored? Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man.
It's going good. What's up?
Well, at least you guys are entertaining all the English fans as well. And you have to appreciate that, you know, platforms like yours, we should try to encourage each other to try and help you guys to get this a bit further so that it can go to a widespread audience. Because, you know, we usually let us hear our voices. And we appreciate that, bro.
Well, you know, on this show, we do support the UK, so you're in good hands.
So do you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to start with the UK fights to balance out your show.
All right.
All right.
And I know you guys watch them.
Yes.
Right. Amir Khan against Greco. I'm just giving that fight a little heads up because it balances out our show anyway. So Greco, I think, did 12 rounds with Sean Porter, if I'm correct. And he went 5-6 rounds with Errol Spence. So that was his first comeback fight. Is that right, Bryce?
I believe you are correct, but I don't have anything in front of me, but I think you're right.
Yeah. So I think Amir Khan's kind of like 70% the fighter he probably was, or ever we thought he would be. But we got to give it to him. He's come back in style. He took him out in 40 seconds. I mean, what a better comeback can you come for to, you know, make a money fight? So, heads up to Amir Khan. I want the show to realize there's a couple other fighters on the show which spoke. One of them is Nigel Benn's son, Conor Benn.
Yeah.
Do you guys recall this fighter?
Yes.
I love Conor
every
Benn,
time
yeah.
I've seen him fight, I like what I see. So.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about the old timers, Nigel Benn was a fighter from England who.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah,
man! He
Nigel.
put on some good fights.
Yeah.
I remember.
Very good fighter.
Yeah.
Gerald McClellan. Him and Gerald McClellan.
He's
That was
a warrior.
the biggest fight ever. Yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, these guys put some fights on. Well, you know, they didn't care about social media as much. They didn't have that platform them days. They got some money for the fight, and they fought anyone they came along. And, you know, I hear all your callers complaining about today's fighters and internet fighters and social media fighters, but you've got to appreciate time's involved in boxing, man. Even England. I know you guys are complaining about Showtime and Al Hayden's deal, but look at Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. They don't even let their fighters fight each other. They have to fight them out of the country. Same thing's going on in England. They're all protecting each and every fighter. It's a shame, really, but you know,
it's a horrible boxing disease that the entire boxing world has.
But
everybody's got to protect everybody else.
Not in America, all over the world, because I follow boxing all over the world. And,
yeah, I know.
You know, even those crazy Mexican days where Mexicans would just fight anybody. Today's Mexican is protected all through social media platforms, promoter deals. They just don't fight anybody, everybody. They tell everyone we're going to fight everybody, anybody since they get the title. It's a much more of a business today than it was in the 80s and 90s, than it ever is now. It's way more of a business. But we have special fighters and we love the game. And sometimes special fighters have to fight special fighters because that's where they get the maximum money. And we know we appreciate some of the game. So it's unfortunate what it is today, but even Errol Spence Jr., I remember you watch all his shows. Before he's becoming a world champion, he's saying he will fight anybody, everybody. As soon as this man gets his title, I like Errol Spence, special fighter. He's most fighters today, even at 147, and I believe he can get a title at 154. But he's protecting himself in such a way now. He's doing mandatories for a million a time. He gets 1.2 million every time he fights now through Al Hayden's deal.
changes the mentality of a killer fighter. And you can't blame the fighters even today. They're getting silly money for fighters which are in the top 10. And they don't need to fight each other at the moment. They can fight when they have to for maximum money. So it's way more of a money game now. Do you guys agree?
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
Sure. 100%. 100%. Much more money game.
I hate that, dude, because you got killer instinct fighters there. When they're up and coming, they're really hungry. They want to fight. We watch some really good hungry fights. And I'm not saying they're not special fighters. I'm saying we've got some amazing fighters even in today's world. But it's the way that they've platformed their mindset. And their mindset becomes into a total business deal. And it actually changes the mentality of a fighter. And you can't blame them. And in today's world, we have something which is what we are adapted to. And I appreciate boxing. I love boxing. So let's carry on with the boxing shows as well. I think Jamel Charlo, he actually is a special fighter. I think if anyone beats Golovkin, it's him. He's got the hunger in him and he's got the skill. And to me, he's so fast, very strong. And I think he can go up to what's the weight after 160?
168.
168. I think he also has a very good chance to beat people at 168. Hank Davis, that little mini Tyson they're promoting. Well, he did some Tyson kind of, that was a good fight. He did what he says he's going to do, and against a very good fighter. So I think this guy has a good chance. I don't know against Lomachenko's fighting Linares, I think, soon, right?
May 12th, that's correct.
Yeah. Oh, what a fight. I mean, you've got to give that a good fight. They come from a hungry background. I'm not saying they're not money orientated in today's world, but these two are hungry fighters. I can see that being a great fight. We got to look forward to that. And and Adrien Broner. Dude, Adrien Broner is a special fighter. Everyone's gunning him down. He's got no killer instinct left in him. The guy was good at 135. Very good fighter. Yeah, untouchable. He's now become your social media fighter. He knows how to promote himself. He talks a lot of shit. And let's be honest, guys, I'm 40. I think most of his fans are under 30. That's why he gets a lot of money. You know, if you really look at it, he's got skill. So any fighter knows how to beat him in the top 10. You only got to apply pressure on Adrien Broner. He doesn't like letting his hands go in the beginning. You win enough rounds down your belt, and then he wants to bring up his game. And it's too late. And this is what he's done more than 3 fights. It's getting boring with him. And I'm sorry to say that. And I hope American fans are not gunning us British guys down for that. But, you know, he's becoming predictable. And I think Jessie Vargas and him, let's see who does better in their career today. I think Jessie Vargas still goes further in his career than what Adrien Broner will. That way. Apart from that, guys, I think Jacobs, obviously, the fight coming up, he's going to, we expect him to win that. As far as who should he fight next, him and Charlo would be a good fight. What do you guys think?
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think Jacobs would like to see it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are old school in the boxing game. I see you guys have a lot of people on your show, which I think come from the old time of boxing. I appreciate that too. That's what made me into boxing. Everything to do with boxing is the old school boxing to me. But I still love boxing. We all can't deny that. We still love those special fighters to see how good they fight today. And we always appreciate the art of science of boxing. I love boxing over UFC any day. My cousins in America hate me for that. Yeah. I have cousins over here who love UFC. I love boxing, and when we sit together, they're always hating on the fighters like through running scared and jabs, and running around and getting their opportunities. But they don't understand the science of boxing. We do. We know how hard it is for a guy to run around at 12 rounds in the ring and do some Sugar Ray Leonard tactics. But as far as money in boxing today, I think too many fighters today who are so special don't get to fight each other over because of the money they're getting through their contracts and through their promotional agreements. It just has tore up the game a little bit. But, you know, at the end of the day, they get to fight each other for 5-10 million is what they want. And that's what they're trying to build each other to. So Keith Thurman and this Errol Spence, this fight, I think they're trying to get it to when it's worth 10 million. So they can earn a lot of money, but you know.
Well, in order for that fight to make that kind of money, Keith Thurman's got to fight. He can't continue to sit out.
And I've met Keith Thurman. I spoke to him. I can send you a video show of me and him speaking for about 2 minutes before he was fighting Sean Porter. And I met him in Vegas, and I actually made a blog. And he was very, very, you know, I asked him the question of, you know, off the record. I said, are you a person that just looks to fight anyone? And he told me, look, I'm in it for anyone, but I'm in it for the money too. And that's how it is. But, you know, he's injured at the moment. I think he needs a couple of fights down his belt. I think we've got some exciting fighters coming up, though, haven't we now?
I think so.
Ryan Garcia, he's in Tank's weight. Am I right?
Who is this?
I believe he is.
Which one?
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I'm not
100%. He fights under Oscar De La Hoya's.
He's with Golden Boy.
Yeah, he's a good little fighter. I've been watching him. You guys don't talk about Carl Frampton and Nonito Tonelli.
We did earlier. We did earlier.
Yeah, we touched it.
Yeah.
I thought Frampton looked pretty good. But Frampton looked pretty good, but
well, you know,
that's his time, man. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Frampton looks pretty good, but we were saying that the loss to Leo Santa Cruz hurt him more than it hurt Santa Cruz when he lost. I think that his confidence was really rattled after that. So.
Very true. Very true. He was he was the best at the weight under.
Oh, for sure.
Rizzander, I think at that time he was all the eyes were on him.
All right.
And I think also him. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, I was just gonna say we're gonna have to get running here because we still got a lot left over, and we still got to talk about the fights next week, and then we still got to get to the news. So be sure to call back.
Thanks for calling and spread the word, will you?
Yeah.
Well, we love calls like yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to spread the word with England and all our friends. And like I said, we appreciate your show, so we look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
We're here every week.
There it is. All right, we got one last call, and then we're going to get to the news and the fights next week, and we still got a lot to cover, Robert. Robert, we got a lot to cover.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
All right.
Yep.
Quickly, we're going to 312. 312, you're live.
Fight Doctor.
Fight Doctor is in the house on rig game status as always. What's going on, gentlemen?
The man, what's up,
What's going on, Fight Doctor?
Well, listen, I think there's a whole lot going on at the 160-pound weight class with a bunch of mandatories that are due.
I totally agree with that, Fight Doctor. I totally agree.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the fight next weekend between Danny Jacobs and whatever bum he's fighting, that is for the mandatory in the WBA, correct?
I think it might be. I got to double check it, but I think it might
it is.
Let's see.
I think it is.
Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, WBA middleweight eliminated.
Seconds.
Yes.
The mandatory. The mandatories in the WBA are only due once every 18 months. Because Golovkin has that whole super champion business going on. But whatever the case, he's got 3 tough mandatories. He's got the IBF mandatory, which is a tough fight.
Yeah.
He's got the soon-to-be WBA mandatory, which arguably already, if Jacobs wins next week, arguably already beat him. And he's got
60 seconds.
And I think Charlo probably knocks Golovkin out.
Well, as I said earlier, Fight Doctor,
I would make
you
him a
can't.
favorite.
If you're Golovkin, you can no longer sit around and wait for Canelo. If you're going to hold all these belts, you've got to start making your mandatory fights.
Let me jump in.
Well,
here.
listen,
hold on.
I think
Fight Doctor. Let me make this point real quick. All right, so. And I've heard you talk about this a couple of times, Robert, and we were going to address this later on the show, but we'll address it now. All right. He's not.
Right.
I mean, you say he's waiting. He's fighting. It's not his fault that Canelo dropped. Canelo popped. For PEDs. It's not his fault.
No, Eric, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying it's his fault, but what I'm saying is because part of the article when
10 seconds
suspension for Canelo, part of the article that I read was Nevada said, well, we're only suspending him for 6 months because we want that September date with Golovkin. We're going to reserve the arena and you guys are going to have the rematch.
Yeah.
But Golovkin, yeah, he's going to fight this person he's fighting. And then he's going to have the rematch. But what about his mandatories? They can't wait forever.
Vanes Martirosyan.
Okay, so now here's where.
But
here's where the smokescreen of Golovkin's career finally clears, and now we get to see what Golovkin is all about, which is money. And I can't fault the man for being about money, but this whole narrative about wanting to collect and hold all the belts, look, that's bullshit. It's been bullshit. It is bullshit. And the simple fact that the man is not using this September 5th date to meet one of his mandatories proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that Team Golovkin, Team Triple Duck has been, always will be full of shit.
Think about what you're saying for a minute. Think about what you're saying for a minute. Yes. Think about what you're saying for a minute. Because what you're saying is, okay, so he's going to have to fight one of the mandatories. Who? Danny Jacobs has got a fight lined up. Charlo just fought. Okay? So that has one. Now you're down to one mandatory that he could have fought on May 5th. That's Sergey Derevyanchenko. Okay. So the reason.
So then let's ask the question. Let's ask the question. Why did he not fight his mandatory?
I'll tell you.
If it's about collecting all the belts.
I will tell you. Tom Loeffler came out and said.
Okay.
He said that he says they didn't want to make the Derevyanchenko fight because there wasn't enough money in it for either fighter to be on HBO. Because the fight will be on HBO, won't be on pay-per-view. The fight will be on HBO. There wasn't enough money in it to make that fight. Furthermore, not only was there not enough money, Derevyanchenko's what? He's a pretty good fighter, right? Everybody would agree he's a really good fighter.
So wait a minute. Hold on, wait, stop. Stop. I need to interrupt for a second. Is there something particularly sanctimonial about May 5th? I mean, is the man is it mandatory for his livelihood, for his life that he fights on May 5th?
No, but think about it. No.
Realistically, honestly.
Okay. All right.
Is it more about May 5th or is it more about keeping your IBF title and making your mandatory? Because if meeting your mandatory obligation were the goal here, then May 5th would be secondary. But it seems to me like the
fight doctor, we said last week we didn't think there was going to be a fight on May 5th.
Right.
Exactly.
And he wants to stay busy.
But they insist on fighting on May 5th.
You can't really fault him for staying
Team
busy.
Triple Duck insists on fighting May 5th instead of insisting on making their mandatory obligation. So it seems to me if the priority here with making your mandatory, then okay, there's not enough money to fight May 5th. We find another date to fight.
And Joel Lopez in the chat asked if Saunders was available. Saunders was not available because they brought that up as well. All right, so why is it so somebody screws him on May 5th? He's set to fight on May 5th. If they can find an opponent to fight on May 5th, why doesn't he fight on May 5th? He can, so he did. Derevyanchenko, it was a money issue with Derevyanchenko. Okay. They could not pay either fighter for that fight. The HBO did not have a big enough purse to pay those guys for that fight. So he ends up with Vanes Martirosyan. Okay. It's not a fight I like. I'll be honest with you. Vanes Martirosyan has not fought in 2 years. He's lost 2 of his last 3 fights.
Let me answer your first question. Why not fight on May 5th? Here's the reason why you don't fight on May 5th. Because you want to keep your IBF title. You've been selling us this bullshit about you want to collect all the belts at 160. Okay, fine. You're 1 belt away.
Do you think
But you insist on fighting on May 5th?
Right. Okay, now listen. You talk about he wants to collect all the belts and stuff, and he said that from the get-go, and I believe it. I believe he wanted to collect all the belts. I believe at this point it's a losing battle, though. I really do. I think you know how difficult it is to collect all the belts. Not only that, to keep all the belts. It's almost
okay.
it's next to impossible.
Stop with the apology, okay? Please. I mean, that's the most pathetic apology I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it wasn't
an
apology.
Please stop. Okay, stop with the Golovkin apologizing, man. It's bullshit.
He's 36 years old. He's 36 years old. He's looking for an exit strategy. He wants the biggest money fight he can get on the way out. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's just what I see.
Right.
And it's fine.
Listen, there's nothing. Look, there's nothing wrong with you know, taking the easiest fight for the most money. Okay, I've got no problem with that. He wants the Canelo rematch.
Canelo's
I have
not
no
exactly
problem
easy,
with that.
by the
Okay,
way.
but what I do have a problem with is having been sold. Look, the boxing public having been sold this bullshit for so long, only for the smoke to finally clear. Now we see what it's all about.
You can't hide it. You can't hide it anymore now.
No,
you can't hide it
it's not
anymore.
about the titles. It's about the MO anyway, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It always was. It always was about the money. Yeah, but they
for years have had these tomato cans, these bums, stiffs, old men, no hopers, spoon fed to him for years and years and years. Okay, and now here comes the next bum, stiff, no hoper, tomato can, spoon fed to him in a long line.
Wow.
I don't. Wait a minute. I don't understand why you're so upset. Last week we were all convinced that there wasn't going to be no fight. Now you're upset because he got a fight and it's not the fight you want. But it's not his fault, the fight, doctor. He's been in training camp this whole time, preparing for a fight.
I agree with fight, doctor. There's no need to hold on to the May 5th date. I agree with fight, doctor.
Wait, let me just 2 seconds. You're right. The fact that Canelo failed his drug test, that's not Triple Duck's fault. I agree. However, his choice of next opponent is Triple Duck's fault. Okay? You did not have to choose to fight this bum. You could have made some arrangements to fight your mandatory. A fight that the boxing public wants to see. Who in the fuck wants to see him fight a guy who hasn't fought for 2 years? That's the reason why I'm mad.
There was no money for the mandatory.
I'm mad because I have a subscription to HBO and I pay for this shit. That's why I'm mad.
There is no money for the mandatory. I don't know how else to say it to you. There is no money for the mandatory.
Yeah, but this fight.
There's no money for the mandatory.
There's no money for this fight either. There's no money for this fight either.
There's no money for the mandatory May 5th. So my question to you is, what is so sanctimonious about that date? Okay, why not fight another day?
Fight, doctor, you're forgetting one other thing. Since there is no money for May 5th, remember, he's locked into September 15th to fight the rematch. So what are you so upset about?
Because this is the thing.
They tried to make the fight. There is no money for that fight.
This is the thing. You shouldn't charge money for a sparring session.
First and foremost,
shouldn't charge money for a sparring session.
Golovkin does not have a signed contract to fight Alvarez in September.
No.
I highly doubt Alvarez is going to fight Golovkin in September.
It wouldn't shock me. I'll tell you what, it would not shock me. Wouldn't shock me if they didn't fight.
I doubt it.
They're going to when they issued the suspension, they clearly stated that they're going to keep that date open for those two to fight.
Yeah. Does Golovkin have a contract with Alvarez's signature on it?
Remember, they have an existing contract for May 5th. All they have to do is change the date.
It's not that easy, Robbie. It's not that easy, Robbie.
They have an existing contract for a fight that's not going to happen. Okay,
that's like
that has nothing to do with September.
That's like saying I'm going to sell a car and just turn back the odometer. It's not that easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not.
Okay. All right. Fine.
But the thing is, this: why should we have to? Why should we have to? Why should we have to see this fight with Martirosyan? It makes no sense. Again. Move off the date and then wait for Billy Joe Saunders and negotiate a fight with Billy Joe Saunders for September. You know, why not do that?
June. It was
I
June.
totally agree with that.
Saunders would have been ready in June.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But you're looking at May 5th. You're looking at May 5th, and you ask why. He's fighting in the StubHub Center. The place is going to be packed. It will be a sellout. There's no question about it. And it's May 5th. It's a big boxing date. May 5th and September 16th, the two biggest boxing dates there are.
That's a Mayweather thing, though. I don't think Golovkin's not back.
It's a big boxing date, but unfortunately, there will be no fight.
Heck,
could be.
Hagler and Leonard fought in June.
Boxing date, but there will be no fight.
June's my
Tyson and Lewis fought. Tyson and Lewis fought in June.
You know, that's how they should. Yeah, that's how they should build the event on May 5th, because it's not a fight; it's an event. And they should build it as no fight. Big boxing day, no fight.
Look, do I like the fight? No, I don't like the fight. But at least, I know you hate this fight, Doctor, but at least it's not a wasted date. At least you didn't go into training camp for nothing.
Right.
It is a wasted date. Because
it's
on May 5th, there will be no fight.
It's a tune-up fight.
Okay, I mean, that's just the simple fact of the matter.
It's a tune-up.
Mayweather-McGregor was in August. Mayweather-McGregor was in August. I mean, he's not Mexican. He's not Mexican. He doesn't need this date. I agree. I'm sorry. I agree with Fight Doctor on this. Let go of the date, and then start preparing. Then start preparing for a better fight.
He's been on the shelf since September. You do this now. He's on the shelf for another 5 months. You know what I mean? Or another X amount of months.
Yeah, but you're charging, with all due respect to Vargas erosion, you're charging us for a sparring session.
It is, but
with all due respect,
he's got to stay active.
Okay, but how active is he going to be? He's
all right.
I don't knock him out of erosion out in 3 rounds.
Did you like the Gerald Washington Deontay Wilder fight? No.
A little bit, yeah.
No.
Oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it when it was announced.
There you go. Boom. Same thing here. Nobody liked it, but nobody questioned.
Yeah, I complained. About it because he went from Luis Ortiz to Washington. Yeah, it was a big drop.
Right, but the thing is,
with
Wilder, there's nothing he could have done. Povetkin tested positive. There was nothing he could have done.
So, yeah, but he doesn't have to fight this fight because this fight is, with all due respect to Mount Erosion, it's a sparring session. So if you want to stay active, go in a gym and fight a smoker for free. Don't charge people to fight this guy who has no shot. And I like Vargas Monterosian a lot. I give him 0 chance.
He's lost.
He won't go.
He hasn't fought in 2 years.
He won't go past 5 rounds.
No, he's getting murked.
So you can go to the gym and spot 10 rounds and get more work than you're going to get on this date. And I like him a lot, but he has no chance of winning.
No
chance of winning. And Golovkin is not Mexican. There's no reason why he should fight.
But moving forward, guys,
there's no reason why he needs to fight on May 5th. He's not Mexican.
They're going to try to put together the Canelo rematch. But if he's going to hang on to these belts, he's got to start fulfilling his mandatories. You got to act like a real champion here. How long are the organizations going to sit around and say, how long are they going to say, well, you're going to still be our champion if you don't fulfill mandatories?
Yeah, he's probably gonna get stripped. And at the end of the day, Fight Doctor is right.
How many mandatories did Floyd Mayweather have?
None.
Right?
Well, unfortunately, Eric, Triple G, as much as I like him, is not Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather brought in almost $1 billion every time he stepped into the ring.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fight Doctor still there? Is Fight Doctor still there?
Yeah, he's still here. Fight Doctor, you're on the line, right?
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Okay,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I'm with you on this.
Like, when are we going to get to see this guy in a fight? Okay? You know, listen, at the end of the day, his whole career is on steamrolling bum stiff tomato cans. And in the 2 named fighters, the 2 A-class fighters he fights, he gets a gift and a draw.
The draw was a gift to Canelo.
And
everybody had him winning that fight. Everybody had him winning that fight, man.
Everybody except the 3 judges. Okay, everyone except the 3 judges.
Everybody had him winning
and
that fight.
Listen, any objective viewing of that fight, it can go either way.
Yeah, but you wouldn't score at 118 to 110, would you, Fight Doctor? Come on.
Of course not. No, that's not the fight that I saw. I saw the fight. So. I saw the fight even or 7 rounds to 5.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, in an objective viewing of the fight. That's how I saw it. You know, but you know, when is this guy going to prove to us? Listen, they're selling his next fight as 20 title defenses. Brian Bernard Hopkins' record.
Well,
it's a shame.
Well, technically it is, because he is going to put up all the belts.
Right, because Bernard Hopkins in that 20, it never fought anybody that was like, you know, he just fought upper echelon guys.
Well,
come on, man.
Listen, at the end of the day, when Hopkins was making his 20 title defenses, he wasn't defending an interim title, which they're somehow counting as world title defenses.
Yeah.
So when you look at Golovkin's career and you add on the interim title defenses, now all of a sudden he's at 20 title defenses. Okay, which is a sham. But that's the listen. Golovkin's whole career is a sham. It's a joke. Okay, it's a joke, honestly. So you know what? I shouldn't even be mad about May 5th, because at the end of the day, it's just a reflection of the totality of Bum Lufkin's career, knocking over tomato can after tomato can after tomato can. It's a working formula. We keep, listen, the boxing public keeps eating it up. HBO keeps selling it to us. We keep buying. It's a winning formula.
In all fairness, Fight Doctor, you've hated Golovkin from day one. You never have liked him. So at least you're consistent.
Listen, it's not that I dislike Golovkin. I dislike all of the hype and the bullshit that we've been sold over the years. Okay? Because I have to ask the question. If the man is so good, so Hall of Fame worthy, my question is, what the hell has he ever done in his career?
20
besides
title defenses?
Get a draw and almost lose.
20 title defenses?
I mean,
what was that knockout streak, Robert?
20 title defenses against who?
Name me Bernard Hopkins' title defense. If you're going to call his into question, if you're going to call Golovkin's into question, then you need to call Hopkins' title defenses into question too.
Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya.
We can talk about Hopkins' record. We can talk about Hopkins' record, okay? Because listen, at the end of the day, Hopkins didn't go into all of his fights as the favorite. He was an underdog in the Trinidad fight.
Well, so what?
Okay.
Well, what does that have to do with anything?
So what?
Yeah.
Well, here's what it says. Hopkins has legitimate all-time greats on his resume. Beating Trinidad pisses and shits on the whole of the entirety of Golovkin's resume. Okay? To be completely honest with you, it does. So Hopkins, Bernard Hopkins, and Gennady Golovkin are two words, two names that don't belong in the same sentence. If you want to be completely honest, they don't.
Yeah, I don't know about that, son.
And I will leave you gentlemen with that.
All right, man. Fight Doctor.
I must be living on a different planet. Look, I don't like this situation, but this is the situation that we're dealt with. And like Eric said, we didn't like the Gerald Washington fight when it was announced, but it turned out to be a better fight than what we thought it would be. All we can hope for is we get the same kind of result here.
Antoine Eccles, was Antoine Eccles a big name?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Glenn Johnson.
Glenn Johnson was a very good fighter.
Good fighter.
Very good fighter.
How about William Bo James?
Yeah, he hung around for a long time.
Yeah, William Bo James. How about that? No,
yeah, never heard of him.
Steve Frank, Lupe Aquino, Melvin Wynn. Yeah. You can't, my point is that, you know, and I'm not going to discredit Hopkins because, and it's, you know, Hopkins had a great career. Hopkins a very good fighter. You can't take anything away from him. At the same time, you can't take anything away from Triple G either. He's fought everybody out there. I mean, really, everybody who wanted to step up and fight him, he's fought him. Nobody prior to the past couple of years when he started going downhill, nobody wanted to fight that guy. Nobody.
Right.
And that you have to be honest about.
They waited till he started slipping.
Right. They waited till he started slipping.
That's right.
Exactly. Now, would I favor some guys over him now? 100%.
Whether you like it or not, we do want to see the Canelo rematch. And
I don't care if I see it.
If he wins,
see it.
I don't want to see it.
Well,
yeah.
no.
I don't care if I see it.
Well, look. Let me finish my point. Because the way the first fight ended and the bad judging, that's why. But I do want to see Daniel Jacobs get the rematch that he deserves. Okay, Charlo proves to me he deserves the fight. I mean, if you're going to continue fighting, unless you're going to retire, you've got to fight these guys.
Yeah.
Well, I will give you this, Robbie. They probably will do more pay-per-views in the rematch than they did in the first fight because of the controversy and because now there's bad blood.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day,
which also means it's going to mean more money. And I wonder how many people are going to buy the next pay-per-view, Joe, just to see Canelo lose because he now is a enhancing person who got caught.
Yeah, but I mean, Canelo doesn't really deserve the rematch, in my opinion.
No, I don't think he does either.
I think other guys.
I don't think he does either. But it's gonna make too much money. They can't ignore it.
I agree with that. But I'm just saying, I think other guys do deserve the rematch over him. Guys who didn't fail drug tests, guys who didn't have favorable judging.
Well, Daniel Jacobs being number one on that list.
Yeah, I think Charlo deserves a shot. I really do.
I totally agree with that.
But again, is he going to make more money fighting Canelo, or is he going to make more money fighting Charlo?
He's going to make more money fighting Canelo. I mean, come on, we all know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I understand why. I understand all of it, but at the end of the day, from just my own personal,
I would love to see Charlo fight Jacobs. I think that would be fantastic. But again, because Charlo is on the Al Heyman side of the fence, can Eddie Hearn and Al Heyman come together and actually put a fight together?
No, they've worked together several times. There's not a problem with that.
Yeah, not a problem with that. Yeah. All right, let's go to the upcoming fights here. April 28th, which I believe is a Friday, from Philadelphia on ESPN.
That's a Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. Okay. Actually, did I miss something in here then? Okay, April 27th. That's a Friday. From Louisville, Kentucky.
That's Friday.
The Jose Sulaiman World Invitational Quarterfinals. Felix Diaz versus friend of the show, Francisco Santana, 10 rounds welterweights. Chris Van Heerden, friend of the show, versus Timo Schwarzkopf. I should be down there. I should really go down there. I mean, we have so many people from the show down there. Frederick Lawson versus Bashanbo Nasuyula. Easy for me to say. 10 rounds welterweights.
Are these going to be televised?
No, it doesn't look like it. Brad Solomon versus Patty Gallagher, 10 rounds welterweights. I don't see it. I don't see anything on the TV unless they put it on late. So yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Let's see here. April 28th, which is a Saturday, on ESPN from Philadelphia, Jesse Magdaleno versus Isaac Dogbo. 12 rounds from Magdaleno's WBO featherweight title. Bryant Bye-Bye Jennings versus Joey DeWecco. 10 rounds heavyweights. Jesse Hart versus Demon Nicholson. 10 rounds super middleweights. And Shakur Stevenson versus Roxburgh Riley. Yeah, Roxburgh Riley. 8 rounds featherweights. So we'll see. Always curious to see Shakur Stevenson fight. Let's see here. What else? From New York on HBO, Daniel Jacobs versus Machis Suleski. 12 rounds for WBA middleweight eliminator. Jarrell Big Baby Miller versus Johan Duhaupas. That's a WBA heavyweight eliminator. Katie Taylor versus Victoria Bustos. 10 rounds for the WBA IBF women's lightweight unification. On Fox at El Paso, on Fox, Josecito Lopez versus Miguel Cruz. I've been told that Miguel Cruz is unbeaten. Anthony Durrell versus A.D. Hahn. That should be a pretty good fight. Also on that card, on BN Sports from Mexico, Jose Zepeda versus the dreaded TBA. And that looks like it's Arthur Abraham from Germany. You'll have to stream this one.
Really?
Versus Patrick Nielsen. Yes, he's still fighting super middleweights. Wow. You think his last fight like that? That was bad. Yeah, that was rough, man, with Eubank. All right, let's talk about real quick. Daniel Jacobs, Macha Suleski. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think Big Baby Miller beats Johan Duhaupas.
Yep, he does.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think that Jacob wins, but I think Maciej makes this a very difficult fight for him. And I think this fight, I really do think this fight can go either way. If you haven't seen Maciej, I'm telling you, he's a very, very good fighter. Undefeated guy, very good fighter. Yeah, I'm real close to picking him to win. The only reason I don't is in New York. Yeah.
He's that good, huh, Eric?
He's a good fighter. Yeah, he's a good fighter.
Wow.
I think Danny Jacobs a lot of fits in that fight.
Wow. All right.
Now I'm going to pick Danny Jacobs to win, and because I want him to be one of the mandatories, because he does deserve his rematch.
I'll pick Danny, but I'll be honest, I don't know much about the other guy.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's the fights next week, and we'll see how that works out.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it, man. But ever since that fight was announced, I've been just nuts about it because I was like, Zaleski is a very, very good fighter, man. Very good fighter. All right. News and rumors. Canelo Alvarez, we touched on this, suspended for 6 months. The Nevada State Athletic Commission suspended Canelo Alvarez for 6 months following a pair of failed drug tests. Canelo and Golden Boy issued a statement about the matter and just basically said that the failed drug test was due to meat contamination. They provided a lot of evidence to support this, he said. I think the thing that bothers me about this whole thing is they just don't take responsibility for it.
Yeah, they don't. And what exactly is that evidence? Because you've released several statements about this whole situation, but you've never released any specifics.
Release it to the press. Yeah.
Where's the receipts? So what is that evidence then?
Right.
If you had it, you would have released it.
Exactly.
You would have released it if you had it. Don't just come out with these vague, statements, remarks.
And let's face it, guys. Nevada doesn't throw away a multi-million-dollar pay-per-view fight unless they have have good reason, and they obviously have enough evidence to show. Hey, you knew what you were doing. You got caught. So
that doesn't matter, Robbie, because it's in their rules and regulations. Whether if you knew or not, whether if it was a mistake or not, they have to suspend you. But the fishy thing about it is they waited 3 weeks, and the reason why they waited 3 weeks is because Triple G made a big stink about it, rightfully so. His lawyer sent a letter to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and then also the press was getting all over this, so they had to do something because. It's so funny how they had this rule. Why wasn't it enforced immediately? Why did it take 3 weeks? Because they were trying to slip this fight through. And if Triple G didn't say anything, then this fight probably would have happened. There's a great chance that it may have. Remember that.
I'm glad he spoke up.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how shocked I still am that he's been suspended and this fight is off. I mean, I really cannot tell you how shocked.
Yeah, because
this was.
It's so funny too, because nobody actually knew about this rule, and I don't think anybody would have known about this rule if Golovkin didn't say anything and he didn't write a letter, and his lawyer didn't write a letter to the commission. Think about that.
Are you guys happy that he exposed this? Or are you unhappy that he kept quiet?
No, I'm happy.
I'm happy, but I'm also disgusted that I honestly believe that Nevada was going to allow this fight to happen and break their own rules, just like the WBC has done on many occasions, and just like all the other sanctioning bodies have done over the years, where they make a rule and they don't follow it. I think Nevada was planning, and again, this is my opinion. I think Nevada was planning on doing the same thing.
And I'll tell you what, if this fight takes place in California, if this fight was scheduled for California, 100% this fight goes on.
It would have went on.
100% this fight goes on.
Because, Eric, they allowed the Francisco Vargas fight to go on because that happened in California.
Right, I know.
Because it's not in their rules. They will give you an exception for inadvertent use.
Yeah.
Las Vegas will not.
Nonsense.
Las Vegas will not.
Which is nonsense. And good for Las Vegas and good for the athletic commission there, because I completely support this.
Yeah.
He's cheating. He knew he was cheating. That's it. And they took a stand, and good for them. good for them, but I tell you what, bad for Triple G because he has just announced he's going to fight, as we said, Vanes Martirosyan for May 5, and that'll be in the StubHub in Carson, California, so Vanes Martirosyan can go to Mexico and eat a bunch of meat. The fight's still happening. Martirosyan hasn't fought in 2 years. He's lost 2 of his last 3. I'm not a big fan of this fight. It's going to be, like Beeb had alluded to, a sparring session. Again, there's no other fight for him to take. And he's 36 years old. To me, he's got to keep active. He wants to stay active. He wants to fight. Let him fight. What's the big deal? And you can talk all, and the IBF can strip him. Listen, the IBF, it's not like they're, the end all be all. Everybody, all the sanctioning bodies have made shady decisions in the past, and if they want to strip him for this, it is what it is. I mean, the belts.
Well,
who are they
Eric,
going to put the belt on?
as we've covered in this podcast and others, this situation is not his fault. He does not deserve to be stripped. It's not like Keith Thurman, who didn't want to fight anybody. This guy wants to fight, and this is the person they found to fight just because, and if the organization doesn't like it, well, there's not much they can do about it, but he does not deserve to be stripped.
There's only one mandatory he could have fought, only one. And there was nobody to fight that mandatory.
And to be fair, Durinchenko's promoter, Lou DiBella, did come out, and I heard it in an interview recently, saying that he had no problem with the May 5th fight going forward. What he's concerned about is what happens after that May 5th. Because, in all fairness to Durinchenko, why should he have to wait around because Canelo's screwed up?
Well, take it up with Canelo.
Well,
Canelo
that's another part. That's another part about this I don't like.
Now, if
suspension is over.
Now, if Canelo
Go ahead, Joe.
Now after this fight, if he goes into a Canelo rematch, they do have every right to strip him.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
if he fights Vanes Martirosyan, to me, they shouldn't strip, and nobody should.
No, they're not going to. They're not going to if he fights Martirosyan.
But if he doesn't fight, I agree. If he doesn't fight Derevyanchenko next, he said they said he's mandatory. That's fine. Take it away from him. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
I don't think they're going to strip him now. I don't think they're going to strip him now.
Gary Russell Jr. and Jojo Diaz set for May 19th. The Apex Predator, Gary Russell, as he referred to himself last night, will fight on May 19th. I think he beats Jojo Diaz, but he's got to get active. Again, he's got to get active. He talks about fighting being a business.
That's my big problem with him.
Right.
He's not active.
He talks about fighting being a business, this and that. Start fighting. I mean, you don't fight, they're going to forget about you. In fact, we already have. Erickson Lubin returns on April 28th to face Oscar Cortez. And Badu Jack will announce a new supplement company. Badu Jack will announce on Thursday that he is launching Ripper Nutrition. He will have a full line of supplements that I'm assuming are clenbuterol free. If you want information, just go to rippernutrition.com. So there you go. And that is the news.
There you go.
That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.